We are now have officially began August 11th, 2024 demo day for Girls in Research. Welcome and congratulations to actually our inaugural graduating cohort of scholars. My name is Elizabeth Ulanova and I'm the CEO of Girls in Research. So next. Today, we're going to go over a little bit about what we do at our core functions, our key components, a little bit overview of the programs that the girls have gone through in the last 4 to 10 weeks, and then a little bit about what is Demo Day, as well as the overview of the day. Next. So for the very beginning, before we actually dive into what Girls in Research is about, I wanted to actually read out loud a piece from the great British author Virginia Woolf from A Room of One's Own. For most of history, Anonymous was a woman. Yet when one reads of a woman having one of the great minds, one asks, has she read? Has she studied? It becomes evident that she has not only read and studied, but has also found the courage to break through the obstacles placed before her. Today, we'll be hearing from 13 girls who actually are the very first ones that have successfully completed the entire program. And before we started Girls in Research, we honestly at first asked ourselves, what if girls were more interested in STEM? That entire question changed when I actually began the interview process. We realized that the question wasn't if girls were interested in careers in research and STEM and far beyond it, but actually, most importantly, they already exist. They're super passionate about it, and they exist all over the globe, and actually, we just had to find them. So for everyone that's giving presentations today, I just want to say, I am so proud of you. We are so proud of you, and we can't wait to be able to hear your work. Next. So Girls in Research, we are the first global virtual research and tech incubator for high school girls. We focus on having a world-class mentorship where we empower ambitious young women from wherever they are, no matter which state, no matter which country, as long as they have an internet connection, they can tune in and be able to work on an original research project. Next. As of today, we have top postgraduate mentors from almost every leading top 10 university in the US, as well as in the UK, coming from Oxford, Stanford, Columbia, University of Pennsylvania, and etc. We are now, since opening in May 2024, we have had 550 applications from high school girls in 45 countries, now spanning across 5 continents. We have had an acceptance rate of about 10% for each of our cohorts. And I am so incredibly proud to announce that as of today, we are the fastest growing female-owned edtech startup in girls' research education in the entire world. And this is currently only possible because of the community that has enabled us to come this far. We are currently now active with scholars in 19 different countries on every single continent except for Antarctica and Australia, and currently actively doing research in all 6 tracks under Research Scholar, as well as App Builder as well. Next. So the core offering of what Girls in Research is our Research Scholar program, which is in the 4-week intensive, 10 weeks, and will be upcoming in the 16 weeks. Pictured here today is also Aijamal and Izoza, who will also be presenting today as well. Next. So this is possible in 6 different research tracks, which is from the technology track, social sciences track, next, natural sciences, applied arts and design, next, business and finance, next, and humanities track. Our other program offering is App Builder, which is a 4-week intensive program that's mentored for girls with prior coding experience. And their output out of the App Builder program is creating their own original digital application, which slightly differs from a Research Scholar, where their output is either a written final literature review, research proposal, or research study. We have to understand these are girls at the high school level presenting and writing at the highest academic level at the university stage. Next. In addition to having the one-on-one mentorship, we equip them with a range of workshops. So here, all of our lecturers are also our mentors as well. So from scientific methods and data collection, next, to how to give a research presentation, which has come extremely in handy for today for all of the girls, next, to how to write an undergraduate literature review, next. This is also supplemented by having frequent guest lecturers and speakers under our Girls Empower umbrella, which features very diverse, amazing, articulate, incredibly innovating women from all different fields, from sustainability and decarbonization, to the arts, to literature, to writing. Next. For instance, over here, we've had Caroline King, who is the recipient of the Louis Vuitton Most Visionary Award in 2021, giving us a workshop on how to change your mind through poetry. Next. After each of our workshops, we often have conversations, discussions, icebreakers, understanding, and being able to soak in the information. But also, as the most core important thing, it is not just about equipping the girls with a solid research education and understand the basic foundations of what research is, but most importantly, also from a very young age, they're able to grow this peer-to-peer network from, even though they are high schoolers today, they will be the next generation of women innovators, and we wanted to foster these relationships. Next. So often we also have had like really interesting meetups and discussions and games as well to be able to foster this community. In this screenshot alone, we have Zula from Mongolia, Melissa from Tatar, Melissa from Turkey, Wairimu from Kenya, Sonora from Uzbekistan, Aijamal from Kazakhstan, meeting up with Anna and I here in the States. Next. Our most interesting social, because of the virtual aspect of Girls in Research, we often have meetups in our Girls in Research metaverse, where each girl is allowed to create a 3D avatar version of themselves and be able to socialize in these rooms, as you can see here. Next. This allows the girls to, outside of their research progress and outside of their research projects, to also be able to build relationships with the other girls in the program and allow them to socialize with each other and talk about everything, which has ranged from astrophysics to like how to write a literature review, just understanding the qualms of what it means to be a young woman interested in research today. Next. So Demo Day, what is it? Demo Day is really the exciting culmination of each Girls in Research graduating cohort. And today we will be having girls from our June and July cohort, which is really our first inaugural set of scholars to have completed and have done their full requirements for our program. So many for our girls today, this is their first ever Global Research Symposium, and they not only get to showcase their projects to a wide global audience, but also for many of them, it's one of their first research symposiums and larger conferences for the first time. Today, our goal is to provide a unique platform for participants to present their work to a panel of diverse and accomplished academics, but most importantly, to be able to share their work, their findings, and their learnings with the entire Girls in Research community. I want to stress to everyone today that to all of the presenters, we are so proud of you, and we cannot wait to hear what you have learned, and more so. Next. So this is the overview of today's schedule, where we'll be hearing remarks from me, as we are now, as well as going through all 13 girls' projects. We will have intermission breaks of 15 minutes at the end of each section, of which at the end of that intermission, please do come back on time because we will be beginning on time, as we have a very large programming today and we have projects in every single track. Next. And at the end, we'll have a closing remark by me as well as processions. Next. So today joining us is also a lot of our mentors, the mentors specifically of the graduating scholars, and they're coming to us from Harvard, Stanford, and you'll be talking, and they will be actually the first panelist to respond to each girl's work. So for every single girl, to the panelists responding to the work, the first one will be their actual mentor. Next. So I wanted to say hello very quickly to the leadership team. So first, we have Daniel, who is the CFO of Girls in Research, as well as the program director. Daniel, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Really excited to hear all your presentations, and amazing presentation, Elizabeth.
And next, we have Anna, who is the program director of Girls in Research.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thanks so much for coming.
And then Cynthia, who's the operations director and our behind-the-scenes sleuth of today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia, and I'm so nice to be here and to hear all your presentations.
Next. Joining us today is also a few of our permanent panelists for today, starting with Dr. Savalai Vakakul, who is alum of the MIT Media Lab, an extraordinary academic and a great friend. Welcome, Savalai.
Hi, everyone. Can't wait to hear all about your projects.
And then joining her will be another panelist, which is Samuel Selwyn Baisley, who is currently at the University of Cambridge and a trailblazing academic as well as artist and innovator. Welcome, Samuel.
Hello, everyone. Really looking forward to hearing about what you've learned.
And then also to say a quick hello is Laura Snowden, who was a former Harvard University Graduate School of Design Dean of Students, my amazing personal mentor and friend, and also just a huge supporter of Girls in Research. And then I also just want to give a quick shout out to our advisory panel, Drake Pusi of the Volition Project and Viviana Ura from Overland Partners. Next. So before we begin, I'm actually going to read a little bit, one poem of my own, a little presentation of my own work. This poem is titled Galaxy, which is my letter to the world. And I wanted to present this poem today as recognition of an existence between the relationship between science and emotion. Every single sentence of this poem is actually matches scientifically from the small scale of a single cell going up to the scale of the infinite cosmos. Next. If atoms of burning cells painted in resolution, will the molecules of your fiction exist the same? Through the cellular planes of our twin ambition, will the atrium emotionality become more than a game? Next. Spliced through the stars of nature and nurture, pixels completed of our inner solar flame, yet beyond the grasp of Valentina Tereshkova, perfect harmony always seems light years away. Within your galaxy of hidden knowledge, through Milky Ways of a hand-shaped kind, the rather complexity, singularity of a complex universe, drawing parallels of our hopeful atomic minds. When I wrote this poem, I thought about the connection between the different living alternative realities and the interconnection between the microcosm and the macrocosm. The reference to Valentina Tereshkova is the first woman to have ever gone into outer space on the Vostok in 1963. I wanted this to be a literal as well as figurative nod to underscoring the vast distance separating us from the pursuit of harmony, especially the cosmic journey and what it still means to be a female innovator in today's society. Next. However, I would like to say, I don't think that journey is too far away because from what we have seen from this generation of Girls in Research scholars, they're eager, they are bright, they're passionate to be able to share their projects and their knowledge with their communities, and we can't wait to hear from them. So actually, I'm extremely proud. Our first presenter today, and our first scholar is Sachi Paradis. She is in the June 2024 cohort. She is in the Natural Sciences track in the 10-week program, and she will be presenting today the research proposal that she worked on. And we are ready to say hello to you. Good morning, Sachi. You may now unmute your mic, and you have the floor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sachi Paredes. I'm from Manila, Philippines, and today I'm going to be presenting my research proposal entitled Transforming Agricultural Waste and Superfoods, Developing a Nutrition-Dense Food Powder for Sustainable Food Solutions. Now, the reality in the Philippines is that there are about 1.62 million food poor Filipinos, and that's nearly 6% of the population. So malnutrition remains a huge problem in the Philippines, where 27 out of 1,000 Filipino children unfortunately do not make it past 5 years old. Next, please. Okay, this is a heartbreaking reality for the poorest of the poor here. But what do the poor resort to? Next slide, please. So, pagpag is a commonly eaten survival food, and it translates to leftovers, referring to dumpster food. Next. Now, the poor usually eat gulay or at asin, which translates to vegetables and salt. Next. As well as instant noodles. So, this is actually often eaten by the poor given how cheap and accessible it is to them. These meals, however, lack much nutritional value, but what can be done? Next, please. All right, so if there is a way to change nutrition for the masses, what would that look like? Maybe the solution lies in the reality of the poor itself. Now, if we were to change any of the foods they resort to, that would be most likely instant noodles. Next, please. All right, so instant noodles are the most feasible to improve in comparison to dumpster food and vegetables and salt, since the condition of these foods cannot be controlled. Now, I'd like to introduce a concept. Next, please. Add, not subtract. So this means that instead of cutting out parts of our meals that we deem as bad, we can instead add foods of more nutritional value to balance out our meals and keep us full for longer. Next. Now, in the context of instant noodles, this can mean increasing nutritional value instead of removing sodium and preservatives that are essentially the factors that make instant noodles so accessible and viable for the poor to have. Next. And this can look like improving the nutrient content of seasoning packets. Next. Now, an attempt at this could look like increasing nutritional value of seasoning packets through a nutrient-dense food powder made from agricultural waste and superfoods. Next. Agricultural waste in the Philippines usually is rice husk, rice straw, coconut husk, coconut shells, bananas, pineapples, and general vagas, as well as other superfoods that are used, and these are commonly used as fertilizers or they are sold by farmers. Next slide, please. Now, banana stems and banana peels have shown to be high in potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B6. Pineapple peels contain calcium, potassium, carbohydrates, dietary fiber, water, and vitamin C. Moringa, locally known as malunggay, is shown to be high in calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper. Water spinach, locally known as kangkong, is high in vitamins A and C, iron, and magnesium. Now, a few of the commonly used drying methods would include spray drying, freeze drying, and hot air drying. Hot air drying is commonly used for fruits and vegetables, uses low heat and constant air circulation to reduce moisture in foods. This, among the other methods, is the most accessible and cost-effective, especially in the Philippine context. Which brings me to my research question. Can a nutrient-dense food powder made from Philippine agricultural waste and superfoods improve the nutritional content of ultra-processed foods? My methodology follows a mixed method design, which begins with the sourcing of agricultural waste and vegetables, followed by the soaking in baking soda and water to clean. Banana stems, banana peels, and pineapple peels will first be cut into 1-inch squares and distributed onto trays, then dried in a dehydrator for 8 to 12 hours at 55 degrees Celsius for all. This will then be pulverized in a blender to create the individual food powders. Now for moringa and water spinach, these will first be finely chopped and distributed onto a tray, then dried in a dehydrator for 6 to 12 hours at 40 degrees Celsius for moringa and 50 degrees Celsius for water spinach. These will then be pulverized in a blender to create the food powder. Now for testing, each food powder will be tested individually, utilizing first the Kjeldahl method for identifying protein content, followed by the accelerated stability test for shelf life in zone 4, hot and humid. Then the final powder development will be based on previous results that will determine the ratios used for the final product. Now for the testing of the final powder, they will use the same methodology utilizing the Kjeldahl method for identifying protein content as well as the accelerated stability test in zone 4, hot and humid. 2 test batches with instant noodles will be made, one using the final powder in replacement of the seasoning packet, and another using half food powder and half seasoning packet. These will then be compared to the original instant noodles in a survey where participants will be asked to A, describe the product's flavor, then name which they prefer, the noodles with the food powder and the seasoning packet, or simply the original noodles. And they'll also be asked how likely are you to purchase instant noodles with the inclusion of this food powder. So what can we gain from this study? First is data on hot air drying banana peels, banana stems, pineapple peels, moringa, and water spinach, since there currently isn't any research that says which temperatures and equipment are most suitable for these. Then we will also gain quantitative results on the nutritional information of these food powders, as well as qualitative descriptions of the product when used in an ultra-processed food like instant noodles. We will also be able to gain from the survey the results about the consumer's perceptions of the product, which is of course essential in gauging its commercial feasibility. Now, if the final product turns out to be a success, we will then have gained a sustainable food solution that improves the nutrient content of ultra-processed foods beyond instant noodles. This is also a great use for agricultural waste, which is also another problem in the Philippines today, and this would be a commercially feasible business model. Now, the product development, however, may take 6 months to a year depending on test results and points for improvement. Which brings me back to my research question. Can a nutrient-dense food powder made from Philippine agricultural waste and superfoods improve the nutritional content of ultra-processed foods? That's for us to find out through this experiment. This has been my research proposal on transforming agricultural waste and superfoods, developing a nutrition-dense food powder for sustainable food solutions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Sachi Paradis. And just as a reminder to everyone, if you are not a panelist, please do keep your cameras turned off. And as of now, I would also have a reminder that she is only 15 years old from Manila, Philippines. So I'm now going to turn the floor to Jeremy Conway, who's a PhD candidate at Harvard University and Sachi's mentor. Each panelist, you may now turn on your mics. You have each about a minute to give your feedback. Jeremy, you have the floor.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Great job, Sachi. I really enjoyed that. I thought, and this is probably the most important aspect in a short talk like this, when you're presenting to a diverse audience that has different fields of expertise. I thought the definition of the problem that you want to address in your introduction was super clear. So that was fantastic. I liked how you got into the details of the nutrients in each of these, agricultural waste products, pineapple, banana, etc., so that you briefly motivate each ingredient that you chose. And then the methodology was really detailed. So I thought that was great. I thought maybe one more thing you could have done to brag a little bit more, to motivate a little bit more, is also say how this is expected to be low cost, right? Because this is for people heavily affected by poverty. And so that's another great aspect of this project. So that's the feedback I have. I also just want to tell everyone that this is actually a project that Sachi is planning to do in real life in her high school lab. So she's going to test these preparation and drying methods and test the nutrition of these different food powders. So I think that's really cool that she's going to actually do it. That's all from me.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And next we have Daniel.
Thank you so much for your presentation. That was really exciting. I just want to start by saying that I was really impressed by the overall structure of your presentation and how I had no context going in. And, I obviously hadn't heard your presentation before, and the structure of, starting with the motivation and then going to the research question and methodology, I think was super clear. To start with the background, similar to what Jeremy was saying, I instantly understood, wow, this is a really big problem. I didn't realize how big of a problem it was. And then when you started talking about potential solutions, this one slide you had of add, not subtract, was really memorable to me. So I think those are really useful context. And then after you presented the research question and then how you might answer it with the methodology, I could see it, like I could visualize it actually happening in real life, and it seems, a doable, achievable thing to do that could make a massive difference. And I think this combination of highly impactful and also feasible is a really rare combination. So all in all, really impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Savalai.
Congratulations on your research project and your presentation. It's a very interesting problem. It made me think of two things. One is the plumpy nut product that is used for malnutrition. So I was connecting it to that and wondering if you could potentially look at how that product came into being and how it's being used and distributed. It might give you some insight into various challenges of getting this out there and getting it to be used by people. Because as you know, with all innovations, it's like innovating is one step, right? And then getting the adoption of the innovation to happen on a scale that makes a difference, that's a whole other problem entirely. So I also connected it to the banana ketchup from Filipino culture, right? And yes, the Maria Orosa is the inventor of the banana ketchup. I just looked it up during your talk. She also invented two other products which were focused on protein-rich, nutrient-dense powdered soybean products. So perhaps you can look into those products that she invented as well for further inspiration of how to use agricultural waste for nutrient-dense, low-cost powders or anything. Have you thought about something that's not in powder form? Is it possible to have various forms that's not powder? I know plumpy nut is a paste, right? And ketchup's more like a condiment seasoning. So there are other avenues as well.
Thank you, Savalai. And Samuel?
Thank you.
It's a super impressive presentation. I thought it was interesting. You're talking about how to maintain nutritional value. So the scalability is quite a big question that you're going to need to think about. How can you process such a large volume? And I think you can really sell the whole project on finding out at the correct temperatures how you add value to the nutritional aspect, and obviously it's going to be low cost. So really impressive, and I think you should be proud and keep going with your research.
And as of this time, Sachi, I would like to present to you your certificate of achievement and completion. So this is made from the entire team of the GIR staff. And I would like to say personally, the very first time I met you, I will never forget from her first interview. She's 15 years old from Manila. She told me in her first interview, it is not about how groundbreaking, and I think this was in verbatim how you said it, how groundbreaking your research is if you can't learn how to communicate it well. So Sachi, right here, we have your certificate. Congratulations on the work you have done.
Thank you so much.
And now for the next presenter today, we have Wairimu Karanu, who is 17 years old from Nairobi, Kenya. She is in the research scholar combo track of natural sciences and social sciences. And she is also 17. And Wairimu, you now have the floor. You may now begin. Take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Wairimo, 17, coming in from Nairobi, Kenya. So my research project was on theoretical physics provides an argument against materialism. Next. The world you see is not the only world. It's just the one you're perceiving. This was the widespread perspective historically, that there were two worlds. Next. One, an external world that resides outside of perception, where things exist outside of your mind, and objects can exist unperceived. And two, the internal world that you perceive. Next. Think of this historic perspective like a movie. The external world is the movie that everyone is perceiving. However, next. Everyone has different lenses, which causes them to perceive the movie differently. This individual perception of the movie would be the world that people perceive. So the movie itself, without the lens, is an external world. But as we all have lens, we perceive a different world. Next. René Descartes, a French philosopher, was a believer in the existence of the external world. He argued for an external world by claiming that sensory perceptions came to him involuntarily, which to him was evidence of the existence of something outside of his mind, and thus an external world. Next. George Edward Moore was another philosopher that believed in the existence of the external world. Moore proved an external world exists by reasoning that if objects can exist unperceived, then it exists in an external world. Moore used a soap bubble and noted that it existed during and after perception, meaning it was an external object that existed in an external world. Next. The argument for the existence of an external world asserts that things exist beyond the mind, and that the material world governs all things, including our ideas and consciousness. This argument for an external world supports materialism, as it claims that the material world dictates everything, including our consciousness, similarly to how materialism states that material conditions determine consciousness. It makes the argument for an external world an argument directly in support of materialism. Despite the argument for the existence of an external world, we can't actually know about anything external to our mind. Next. As Thomas Nagel, an American philosopher, points out, all our experience could be like a dream, and we wouldn't even know it. Nagel's argument illustrates that as we use our minds to process everything, we can't know about something that's outside of our minds, as that would require processing something without our minds, which is impossible. Next. Robert Lanza, an American scientist, developed Nagel's argument further, claiming that there is no external world, that there is no world outside of our perceptions, as our world is created by perceptions. So, next, using the movie analogy, Lanza claims that our different lenses create the movie. Our different lenses are the projector casting the movie. This concept is explained by the theory of biocentrism. Next. Which entails that life constructs the universe as all we see and undergo is due to our minds constructing it, that our consciousness makes things what they are. Without consciousness, matter exists in an undetermined state of probability, as explained by Joe Scott. Next. Unobserved particles don't have real existence. Next. It's only in the presence of an observer that particles can have an actual position or a physical reality. Without our minds observing something, particles would remain in the vagueness of probabilities, not bearing semblance to what we perceive as our world. Therefore, our world is created by our perception of it. Next. When our minds alter energy from waves of probability to particles, our minds are constructing the universe. Our consciousness is shaping the world. Next. Not the world defining our consciousness as materialism outlines. As an argument has been provided against an external world, by extension, an argument will be provided against materialism, as the argument for an external world is an argument directly in support of materialism. The theory of biocentrism coupled with particle experiments provides an argument against materialism. Next. In our virtual reality, our consciousness constructs the world. The material conditions of the world don't determine human consciousness, which provides an argument against materialism. The argument for materialism heavily relies on the existence of an external world, as it is believed to govern all things including consciousness. However, according to the theory of biocentrism, there is only one virtual reality, in which our consciousness shapes the world. This goes against materialism's foundation of the material world being the informant of everything, including our consciousness, thereby providing an argument against materialism. Next. For example, to the left, you see a blue sky, but the cells in your brain could be changed so that everything that's blue looks green or red. To the right, you think it's hot and humid, but, next, to a tropical frog, it would look cold and dry. Here, Lanza illustrates that material conditions don't control reality, rather consciousness does, as others may perceive what you perceive as a blue sky or hot humid weather differently. This scenario demonstrates that our mind determines what we see, not the external world, not the material world. Next. Yes, the material conditions don't determine human consciousness, but they're also impacted by consciousness, which provides an argument against materialism. The subatomic particles that make up the material world only exist in waves of probability until in the presence of a conscious observer. This is proof that the material world is governed by our consciousness, because subatomic particles only exist in physical reality when observed. Next. John Stuart Bell, an Irish-born physicist, demonstrated that observation enables the existence of particles in physical reality when he studied particle pairs, and noted that when one particle was observed, it would obtain real properties, and the other particle would employ the opposite spin of the observed particle. Bell's experiment illustrates that the act of observation transforms the state of particles. Next. Similarly, in the double-slit experiment performed by an English physicist, Thomas Young, when someone watches a subatomic particle or a bit of light pass through slits, the particle behaves like a bullet, passing through one hole or the other. But if no one observed the particle, it exhibits the behavior of a wave, somehow passing through both holes at the same time. Like Bell's experiment, the act of observation dictates the material condition of the particles. The experimenter's mind dictating the state of the particles provides an argument against materialism, as in this case, the material world is being impacted by consciousness. It's not the material world shaping consciousness as outlined by materialism. Next. The mind does not just affect the material conditions of the world, it defines and explains them, as time and space define and describe the material world, which provides an argument against materialism. As Lanza explains, space and time are the mind's tools for putting it all together. We use space and time as tools of our consciousness to explain our universe. They are not part of the material world. Next. Zeno's paradox illustrates this by stating an object can't occupy two places simultaneously, and can only be at one place at any given instance in its flight. So to be in one place is to be at rest. So an arrow must therefore be at rest at every instant of its flight, and therefore motion is impossible. This is proof that time does not exist in the material world, as technically everything is constantly at rest, even during movement, which indicates that time is a tool of perception. Next. In addition, space is also a tool of perception, as depicted by particles in space, which can instantaneously be connected at opposite sides of the galaxy in violation of the speed of light. Particles in the universe being interconnected in a manner that breaches the speed of light is an indication that space doesn't exist in the material world, and is just a tool of perception. If space and time exist in the material world, yet are concepts that define our universe, an argument against materialism is provided, as space and time, conceptions of our consciousness, define our world as opposed to the material conditions defining our consciousness. Next. The main implications of particle experiments combined with the theory of biocentrism, providing an argument against materialism, are that concepts founded in materialism may be threatened, and a changed perspective on the universe may be presented. Concepts founded in materialism may be called into question. For example, the viability of nature-based religions that honor landforms may be called into question. These religions regard landforms as holy, which is supported by materialism as it outlines that the material world defines everything, and holy things are believed to define an influence. Nature-based religions have a materialistic substructure, so when an argument against materialism is provided, the viability of these nature-based religions is highly threatened. As an argument has been provided against materialism, anything rooted in materialism may be threatened. Next. The theory of biocentrism would also provide a new perspective on understanding everything as molded by our consciousness. Such a perspective opens the door to a new mode of interpreting the universe by using consciousness as its influence. Next. Regardless of the feasibility of the argument against materialism, the particle experiments, coupled with a theory of biocentrism, provides more research into human consciousness will be done. As it stands, consciousness is a very untapped field, especially in its role in physics. More research into our consciousness would leave us humans better equipped to understand life and our abilities. It would also unveil the plausibility of the argument the theory of biocentrism and particle experiments provide against materialism. Next. Thank you for listening.
Wairimu, I am so proud of you. To everyone in the audience, Wairimu was my own mentee and I was her mentor. I would just like to very quickly to say 3 things. First of all, Wairimu came to me as a high schooler with an immense passion for physics, astrophysics, chemistry. She even knows how to code in Java. She had never actually gone into the social sciences or the humanities. She had never even delved into philosophy before this. She wanted to challenge herself and not understand just actually the mechanisms of physics from a more cellular level, but also its greater impact in the deep metaphysical and philosophical inquiry as well. We actually created the combo of natural sciences and social sciences track because of Wairimu. And it is rare at any age to be so astute and so confident and so literate simultaneously in the natural sciences as well as in the social sciences and humanities, and she's doing this at 17. She had to do 3 things. She not only had to understand deep philosophical texts, usually at the PhD level, from philosophers, from understanding from Rene to Descartes, to then understanding the most relevant conversations in quantum theory today, which is the understanding of biocentrism through Lanza. And then she had to further synthesize it, but how that actually interplays between the connection of actually how certain physics experiments and modulations have worked, and take that back and plug it into understanding actually the differences between these very different bodies of philosophical inquiries and theories, and also the effects and vice versa of the physics and mechanisms behind them. And lastly, I just want to say she also created every one of these animations herself in order to very communicate clearly at a very, from text at a very abstract and complicated level to communicate it to a general audience. I'm incredibly proud of you and the work you have done. And each panelist, we are a little bit short on time, but the first one I'd like to say, Daniel, you have the floor.
Yeah, really amazing presentation. I was really impressed by how you took these 2 completely different fields. Like I come from natural science background and haven't, really delved into like philosophy of mind and how we perceive the world. And I feel you really, connected the old thoughts of, what were people thinking before quantum physics and connected that to some of the most important experiments like the double slit experiment. And I really felt that I understood the whole story through. There was a really good red line. So thank you.
And Savali?
Great presentation. Congratulations. A very interesting topic area. I guess I want to know what's next. What where you might want to take it. I have only familiarized myself with like the digital physics type people who are trying to also push beyond materialism. So congratulations again.
And Samuel?
Congratulations. You showed a lot of passion, which is absolutely key. And I think I would also like to say it'd be interesting to see where you take this, your research into sort of metaphysical dimensions. You're a fantastic public speaker, so I think you should carry on developing that and yeah, being true to your own passions.
Wairimu, I would just like to say you are the end of your research is the beginning of inquiry of not just your own in terms of understanding where you'll be going next in terms of understanding actually these are relevant conversations like right in quantum theory, quantum physics today, but also not just for yourself, but also within your field. And I think it was an absolute pleasure to see you engage in a very concise and very analytical way with the conversations that scholars in your field are having right now. At this point, I would like to present to you your certificate of completion and achievement. Congratulations on educating all of us today on the impacts of physics on morality, disproving materialism and biocentrism through quantum physics. At this time, I would like to welcome our next two speakers who individually apply to us through App Builder, and we pair them together through our App Builder program to create an original digital app. It is Aksangul, who is age 15 from Nukis, Uzbekistan, and Nilufar, age 17 in Samarkand, Uzbekistan. Together, they were in the 4-week App Builder program. They didn't know each other before this program, and they met and have done this completely virtually and built an app together. Aksangul and Nilufar, you have the floor. You may begin.
So hi everyone, my name is Aksungul, and today I'm gonna present presentation with Nilufar, my teammate. Our project is called DiaCare, a diabetes management application. We made this project to help people with diabetes. Next.
And hello everyone, my name is Nilufar. And diabetes is a long-term condition that affects millions of people around the world. Managing it means to keep a close watching on blood sugar levels, planning meals carefully, and striking a strict diet. This can be challenging and take a lot of time for many people. Next slide. And in 2019, approximately 463 million adults worldwide had diabetes, and this number is expected to rise to 700 million by 2045. And in Uzbekistan, over 350,000 people are registered with diabetes, a significant increase from around 80,000 in 1980s, according to the Republic Medical Resource Center for Endocrinology. And next.
So as Nilufar says, many people in the world have diabetes. So we wanted really to help them, and we created a web app. Our web app is called DiaCare, and it is designed to assist people with diabetes, especially in their diet. Well, users can input products, ingredients they have at home, and AI will generate recipe for them based on daily calorie needs of each user on their dietary preferences. For example, user can be vegetarian, but also AI can generate recipe for that user too. And also AI will generate recipe based on nutritional needs for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And we saw that this helps us to ensure that they eat balanced meals and the meals are suitable for managing their condition. Next. Well, there is a big question. The question is why DiaCare would help people. We have 5 answers to that question. The first answer is Our app will help people with generating recipe. As I said, the main thing in our app, the AI will generate recipe based on available ingredients. So we can be sure that users can have access to our app anytime. The second one is personalization. So I have an example there. For example, user can be vegetarian, but AI can also generate recipe for that user too, based on their dietary preferences. So AI will generate recipe for user vegetarian with diabetes, and this will help them to adapt. The third one is convenience. It saves a lot of time of user. I know that many people who have diabetes waste their time searching from internet many recipes for people with diabetes, and this is a solution to that too. And the first one is nutritional balance, and the fifth one is reducing waste. Our app will help use up ingredients in the fridge, minimizing food waste at the home of the user. Next.
What did we use to create our app? In the front-end technologies, we use Streamlit and CSS styling, and backend technology we use Python, OpenAI API, Hashlib, and .env. Development tools we use Git, GitHub Codespace, and Virtual Studio Code. The next.
So thank you very much for your attention. We really appreciate it. And now we're gonna present demo of our app.
Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to our DiCare diabetes management application. Here users can register their profiles and we can write the username and the email, and we can write the password and should write the name, age, and the weight and height and the sex. And we press the register and registration successfully. Please proceed to login. And in the login page, we should just press login and login successfully.
Let's go to the next page. The next page is generate recipe page. Here you can see profile details that you added on the registration page. And after that, we should choose daily activity level. And then we should choose food preference. We should write food preference, for example, vegetarian, nationality after, and cuisine preference, meal category, and then available ingredients. Also, then you can see BMR and daily calorie needs. Based also on that information and the information that you fill it on the spaces, AI will generate the recipe for you. Then we should click on Save Profile, and after we should click Generate Recipe. Then you can see Generated Recipe by AI and also instructions. Thanks a lot for your attention. It was demo of our app.
I'm so sorry. So actually, this video is coming with a really amazing voice. So I'll share my screen again, just to let you know that how amazing work they did. Sorry about that.
Hi everyone, welcome to our diabetes management application. Here users can register their profiles and we can write the username and the email, and we can write the password and should write the name, age, and the weight and height and the sex. And we press the register and registration successfully. Please proceed to login. And in the login page, we should just press login and login successfully.
Let's go to the next page. The next page is generate recipe page. Here you can see profile details that you added on the registration page. And after that, we should choose daily activity level. And then we should choose food preference. We should write food preference, for example, vegetarian, nationality after, and cuisine preference, meal category, and spend available ingredients. Also, then you can see BMR and daily calorie needs. Based also on that information and the information that you fill it on the spaces, AI will generate the recipe for you. Then we should click on Save Profile. After, we should click Generate Recipe. Then you can see generated recipe by AI and also instructions. Thanks a lot for your attention. It was demo of our
Absolutely incredible work, especially for creating something in 4 weeks. The first person I'd like to give the floor to is Tiger, their mentor, who is a alum of the University of Cambridge.
Thank you, Atsungu. Thank you, Nilufa. I just wanted to say that Atsungu actually came into this project with all these ideas about the diabetes app that she really wanted to create to help people. And she came in with a really big vision. The app, in her vision, had so much more features that we did not have time to implement. So like blood sugar level tracking, exercise activity levels tracking, and other features as well. Let me see if I can get rid of the echo. Hello? That's still the echo.
As a reminder, please turn your mic off except for Tiger.
Hello? Hello? All right, we'll just continue. And so with all of these different features, just because, well, we managed to implement one, I think, really interesting use case, and that's using large language models, which is the hype right now. And so I think this use case is incredibly relatable for everyone, right? We all worry about what we want to eat tomorrow and or what we want to have for lunch. And imagine having diabetes, and that task is even more difficult. And so having the large language model there to help us would really help people. And so I think the value proposition there is very clear. And Atsungu and Nilufa, they both worked really hard on this. They had their own separate versions of the app that we ended up combining in the end. So they both got to learn everything from creating the app from scratch, and they've not used Streamlit before. So well done, both. Atsungu, really great passion. I just hope that you keep developing this passion and develop this app further. And Niloufar, well done for catching up to Axongo's passion and learning all about diabetes. Even when it's not your idea, you really put your all in supporting her. And so I just want to leave you two with this point that with app development, you can keep learning forever. There's so much more to learn. There's new tech stacks and databases, font size, accessibilities, all of these different concepts that as you learn them, you'll be able to put more of your vision into reality. So well done.
And next, Daniel.
Really amazing work. I loved seeing the demo and how everything was set up. I had so much curiosity on how it was built as well. Really cool that you were able to integrate with OpenAI and have have the suggestion of this meal. I think the whole from the beginning of your presentation of the project where you outlined why it's such an important problem, and then to the execution and building something that I could see myself using it. I wish I could use it right now. So really cool project, and yeah, I really hope you keep building.
And Sabalai?
I really like your app too. I personally struggle with pre-diabetes. So for me, I had been researching like substitutes. So my one idea would be if your app could also make suggestions, like sugar substitute is a big topic, right? And some people might not know erythritol is way better than xylitol in terms of how it affects your blood sugar level. So you can also use this as an educational tool to get people to be more aware of the ingredients. So for me, I had to change basically the products that I buy for cooking, because keeping the ingredients the same, even if you tweak the recipes a little bit, it still doesn't quite, it's not as helpful as, researching the different types of products that you can buy. So that was a big task for me personally, because you go to the grocery store and it's like, whoa, so too many choices. And if your app could also make shopping for different diabetes friendly ingredients as to be an easier task. Thank you. Congratulations.
And Samuel.
Congratulations. I thought it was a very sincere presentation, and you're solving such a big social problem. I also thought that it would be interesting to see if you're able to link up with some of the shops so that they tell you what other ingredients they might have in stock. So things that you have in your cupboard, then if you need to make a recipe, there's this educational component where you can learn about what are the other ingredients that are local to you that you could go and buy and supplement the meal with. So it's got some, and I think that also would help, partnering with co-funding, because there's a tangible reality there of solving a big problem. So well done.
At this point, I would like to award the certificate of completion to both Axongo and Niloufar. This award is given to you. Oh, sorry, that's Ajmal's, and can we have Axongo's? So anyways, as this award has been given to you based on not only having creating something, here we go, there's your certificate. It is the greatest innovation of understanding from a need from your community and being able to see that need and transfer that and convert it to a tangible reality. Congratulations, girls. And next we have Trisha Mehta, who will be joining us from Dubai, UAE, who is 17 years old. She is in the July cohort, a 4-week scholar, and she will be presenting to us today. Trisha, as of now, you have the floor. Welcome, and you may begin.
Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to check if I'm audible first. Okay, great. So hi everyone, I'm Trisha, and I'll be taking you through my research proposal, which basically aims to study how microgravity can cause inner ear defects by looking at inner ear organoids. So yes, right now it just sounds like a bunch of words, but by the end of this, you'll understand exactly what it means. Now, before I formally introduce the topic, I just want to look at two main terms. So next slide, please. So the first is microgravity. It's exactly how it sounds. Micro means very small. Gravity is the force we experience on a daily basis. But what we usually assume is that in space, there is no gravity at all, but that's not the case. There's always, everywhere in space, there's always a small amount of gravity, microgravity. And this lack of gravity can cause so many changes to the human body. And 3 of those significant changes are the heart's shape, bone loss, and the degradation of muscle cells, which makes microgravity a very concerning problem when it comes to space travel. Secondly, organoids. We all know what organs are, but organoids are 3-dimensional tissue structures that we can use to assess how a factor can actually affect an organ without actually testing the organ itself. So we look at the organoid to see how something affects an organ, which is very, very useful when it comes to scientific research. Next slide, please. So to actually introduce the topic, in recent years, we've seen an increase in space travel, space missions, space tourism, but what we've not seen is a decrease in the risks associated with this space travel, which is a problem. So that's the main purpose of my research, making space travel safer. And obviously this will benefit the astronauts whose lives revolve around the space travel. But why I chose inner ears and microgravity specifically are 2 reasons. Firstly, we don't know the effect of microgravity on the inner ear. Secondly, hearing loss is a problem that is so heavily overlooked when it comes to space travel. So I thought, why not? Let's just look at it. Now, a very important statistic, according to NASA, space missions require about 95% of sentences to be intelligible. So that doesn't just mean I say something and it makes sense, but I would like for you to actually hear what I'm saying. So next slide, please. Before I move on to the actual methodology of the experiment or of this proposal, I want to quickly explain how we actually hear. So it begins with a sound like that, and a vibration is created, and then we have a sound wave that propagates. So if we look at the diagram, the first part is the outer ear. The sound wave continues to propagate through the air, through the ear canal, until it reaches the middle ear, which is the second part. It causes the eardrum to vibrate, which then causes the bones within the middle ear to vibrate, and then that vibration is passed into the inner ear, which is the final part of the ear. Now, there are 2 main fluids in the inner ear, but the one that's relevant to this study is called the endolymph. As the sound wave passes through the endolymph and into the spiral structure at the end called the cochlea, there are multiple hair structures within the cochlea that bend as the sound wave passes. So when those hair structures bend, it causes ion channels to open so that ions within the endolymph can pass through. It generates an electrical signal, which passes through the auditory nerve to our brain so we can process the sound. Next slide, please. So now to the actual methodology of this proposal. We're starting off with stem cells, and we're using them to create an inner ear organoid. Within that organoid, we want to create a fluid whose composition resembles exactly that of the actual endolymph. And then that organoid, or multiple organoids actually, will be connected to microfluidic devices that send sound waves into the organoid, and then we'll measure the electrical output because of the movement of the ions, which basically translates to how well our hearing is working within that organoid, using a patch clamp technique, which makes use of a micropipette. And now to actually bring in the microgravity aspect of it, the research proposal basically proposes to conduct this experiment in space. So in a space station, we start off with the Earth-like gravity using centrifugal force, so a centrifuge. That's spinning. Once we look at the electrical output in that spinning, the Earth-like gravity environment, basically, we will then look at the change of the electrical output as that spinning stops and microgravity resumes. Now, it's not that this is impossible, because all of these methods have been successfully tested before. So this is a viable experiment. But with any such experiment, there are like multiple variables that could affect the results. So next slide, please. We need to look at the controls. So there are 5 main controls with this experiment that I've identified so far. And first is the fluid itself. We need to look at the pressure of the fluid, the composition of the fluid, the ions, and so on, all of which could affect the results of the investigation. Secondly, the organoids themselves, how long they've developed, how long after they've been developed we take them. All of this may affect the results as well. So we need to control those as well. Then the sound waves that we're sending as well, the amplitude, the frequency, all should be the same for each organoid. And how long they're being sent. So in other words, the time of the testing. How long the sound waves are sent into each organoid also matters. And finally, the surrounding air composition, how much oxygen is there, how much carbon dioxide, and so on. So next slide, please. Now, this is how the experiment would pan out. It starts with creating the organoids, the multiple batches of organoids, just in case there are anomalies or some are just failures. So it starts off with obtaining stem cells, differentiating, and then developing into organoids. Those organoids are then transported to a launch site and then taken to the space station. And then that is where the experiment is conducted. It'll take at least 2 to 3 weeks. And then once those results are obtained, they need to be analyzed and a conclusion will be made. But the thing is, because this is a research proposal, we don't know if microgravity does actually have an effect on the inner ear, which is why expected results are really important. So next slide, please. My expected results are presented in 2 parts. Firstly, the fluid itself. The fluid could be affected, the properties of the fluid could be affected by microgravity alone. So understanding that first could be key to understanding the overall effect of microgravity on the inner ear. So my prediction is that the fluid will have a lower flow rate, so it moves more slowly in microgravity, which means the ions move more slowly, which could lead to a lower electrical output. Once that's been tried, tested, concluded, we look at the actual testing of the organoids. So my prediction is that the electrical output will decrease in microgravity, which means the hearing deteriorates. And then finally, if I know I can't exactly carry out this experiment, I don't know how to reach space right now, but if this is actually done and concluded, then we know that it can open up massive possibilities for creating safer travel. And the 2 reasons why this is so important and so beneficial is, firstly, climate change. We don't know how long we have. Secondly, we still don't know how long we have because our sun will expand into a red giant and all human race will be wiped out. And to prevent that, or for us to survive, we would need long-term space travel to find somewhere else to inhabit. And to do that, we want space travel to be safe, and that's what this research is aiming to do. So next slide, please. That is the end of my research proposal. So happy hearing to you all. Thank you.
Congratulations, Trisha. The first one I'd like to invite is her mentor, Jeremy, who's a PhD candidate at Harvard University.
Thanks again, Elizabeth. Fantastic job, Trisha. I really enjoyed that presentation, and it was great to see, how your research proposal has been turned into a talk. I thought the introduction, again, was really clear, great explanation of the motivation behind why you are interested in doing this experiment. Great slide on how the ear works and converts sound waves in the atmosphere into an electrical signal that your brain can interpret. That was a great intro for everyone to how the ear works. I also really liked that you had a slide for the timelines so people can see the specific plan on when things happen. And one feedback component that probably only applies to your talk if it's longer, but I would have liked to see a few more images, like for patch clamp, like how does patch clamp work? What's actually happening? Because that's your main experimental output, right? So in a longer talk, just keep in mind, add more images for people to see how is this experiment actually going to work. But that was excellent, and you did a great job fitting it into the time.
And next we have Daniel.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Oh, are you there?
Yes, Daniel, we hear you.
I really enjoyed this talk. I love the motivation of how, thinking so far ahead that, once the sun is going to swallow up the earth, we need to like travel far away. So super cool. And then combining that with like really in the weeds of like, how are we going to actually do this? And we need to travel to space, but that's not really possible. I think one question I had was what the hearing of astronauts, the hearing that astronauts experience, whether like we can measure that and then kind of infer what we maybe would expect. And yeah, overall, I would be really excited to see the results of a research project like this. So yeah, excellent work.
And Savalai.
I have a quick question for you. So when I hear endolymph, I immediately think about vertigo. Vertigo is an issue with astronauts as well. Have you uncovered this in your research? I think it must be.
I actually don't know what to say. I'm not sure.
So that's a future avenue that you can look into. Also, it's
Yeah.
not hearing loss. I think I think like during flight or post space flight, there must be some disruption like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll definitely look into it.
Congratulations on your presentation. It's great.
And Samuel.
It's a fantastic presentation. You're very, very clear with all your points and beautifully illustrated. I definitely think it's a presentation that Richard Branson would like to hear, given that he's trying to commercialize space flights. I know that there's been some research into how gravity affects oxyhemoglobin makeup, so at low and high altitudes. So I think that your hypothesis is potentially true. What would be the next question is, how do you propose to solve some of these problems through some device or interventions? But I think that the ramifications of your research will lead to lots of other interesting questions. So yeah, very inspiring. Well done.
Trisha, this was a beautiful and magnificent presentation. And at this time, I would like to award you your certificate of completion. With your interest in exploring what is possible microgravity conditions, we decided to make you a certificate based on your galactic interest. Congratulations on your project. And I will wait for I'll wait for Cynthia to be able to share the certificate to everyone else. That is now yeah, here we go. That's your certificate. That's your certificate. And
Thank you.
congratulations. And then for next we have a 15-minute intermission. I would like to tell everyone that we are going to return here and start with Aziza at 30 on the dot exactly. So please be here on time. As of now, we're going to begin our intermission, and we will see you back at at whatever time zone you're in at 30, half an hour. All right, see you soon.
Uzbekistan, and my research project is about perception and awareness survey on quantum computing K-distribution methods. Next slide. And this is the brief overview of how we planned the project, and quantum computing was so new field to me. So in order to conduct any kind of research, I had to start with just learning what quantum computing and quantum K distribution protocols are. So first I learned them. Then during the learning process, I made some notes to keep them clear in my mind. And then we truly worked on the research project. And we started with creating a survey. And in this survey, some of my research notes were really handful. So I used them as a part of the survey. And then I distributed the Google form, which is our survey, to different communities that I'm in, and then we analyzed the data. So then we reported the process, and it is the research paper. And also I made a presentation, and it is now that you're seeing. And next slide. And what is quantum computing and QKD? Quantum cryptography is something like during and after the transmission, your data has to be secure. And QKD stands for quantum K distribution. So you distribute the keys to unlock and lock the data between the receiver and sender. So this is called K distributions. And using K distribution methods in a quantum manner, like using superposition or entanglement methods, is called quantum K distribution. Next slide. Next slide. Oh my god, what happened? Okay. Then during the research process, we also had to know how user perception studies are conducted, so that our structure based on the survey and analysis of user perceptions of security icons, one of the research papers that is based on perception studies. So the next slide. And we also didn't know how to conduct an anonymous survey, because anonymous survey means it is like it has its own rules, and the respondents should know about the fact that this survey is anonymous. So we conducted some research on how to conduct it. Next slide. And as I said before, my notes were really helpful to create a survey, and I gave the notes, which was about a brief introduction of QKD types, and I can ask the respondents, like, how easy is the brief introduction to understand? And I gave the explanation of how the QKD protocols work, and users can answer how implementable these things. And when I gave the information about security rate and past experiments, and they can answer to the question, how secure is that? Do you believe it is secure? And it is the perception survey. Next slide. And we distributed and analyzed a lot of data, and according to our data, quantum K distribution methods are it is widely accepted when the respondents are given some data, because before the survey no one really knew about the data and knew about QKD, and after the survey, like, they know it a lot. Next slide. Oh my god. When it comes to quantum key distribution and cryptography, it is relatively unknown to public, and giving public information about QKD greatly increases the awareness and trust of people. And also, when people are given more resources about QKD, it will be more adaptable to the general public. And we also conducted one thing that whoever is less than 15, they had to ask permission from their parents to participate in the survey. And because of this parental consent form, we had some friction that reduces the number of respondents in the school age cohort, which is between 12 to 15. So next slide. And one of the limitations of our research was that we had actually 24 responses, but we accepted only 18 of them. And the reason was, as I mentioned before, there is a requirement of age. And 6 of the respondents were somehow able to bypass the requirement. And by means of Google Forms and by means of the feature that we can individually know the answers, we did not, we concluded that we shouldn't accept these responses. So we lost 6 respondents. Next slide. And then we reported the process by making a presentation and by writing the research paper. And next slide. And this is the end. And yep.
To everyone else that's watching, I would just like to say Aziza literally ducked out of her sister's wedding to be able to do and present this to us today. And she also just got back to Uzbekistan. Aziza, amazing job for writing such a complicated literature review. For our very first panelist, I'll be inviting Waleed Sabihi, her mentor from the University of Oxford. Waleed, the floor is yours. And while we wait for Waleed, Daniel?
Yeah, awesome. Really cool presentation. I hadn't actually heard about these quantum key distributions before. And I thought it was pretty interesting when you were showing all these graphs and visually explaining, have other people heard of it and how can they be used? I think this was really nicely done to introduce the topic. I think being tangible and showing the numbers and the distributions and really having this connection to something quantitative is really important. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
And Savalai.
Completely new topic for me. I had to furiously Google some terms. My one suggestion is, I wonder if you've thought about introducing young kids to quantum computing and concepts that surround that. I think it would be, an interesting side project. I'm sure lots and lots of young people are interested, but they don't know how to get started.
Yeah, actually, the most common type of the respondents were between 16 and 18. And if we hadn't reduced the number of respondents, 6 respondents who were able to bypass, we could have just the age of the usual, usual respondents would be between 12 to 18. Yeah, they're pretty young.
And then now Samuel.
Congratulations! You did really well to get through, and I could see you were really working hard to sort of articulate all your key points and make sure they were ordered. It was good to see your research analysis. It's action research in play. So there are. I know you said you used Google Forms to gather your findings. But there are other ways of doing it a bit more sophisticated that could perhaps have some interesting outcomes with the demographic you're trying to reach. But well done, and looking forward to see what you do next.
And now joining us is Waleed, her mentor, who's at the University of Oxford and mentored Aziza in this project.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm really proud of Aziza and all the work she's put in over these last 10 weeks. It was a lot of work, and I think especially considering the circumstances that she was in and the many difficulties that we had during the calls because of bad internet or broken mics or whatever. But yeah, I was really proud of Aziza and proud of how quickly she was picking up everything we were going through. So yeah, I'm just really happy with this.
Thank you.
Aziza, I would like for everyone to know that she not only did her theoretical research through Girls in Research, but she also did and implemented her practical technical research in the States through Tech Girls. So she was able to understand many different dimensions from both a practical as well as a philosophical level, which is incredibly amazing what we were able to do in such a short amount of time and between two different continents. At this time, I would like to award you your certificate of completion. Congratulations on
Thank you.
And as we have here, we have the background of and for her final research capstone titled Perception and Awareness Survey on Quantum Key Distribution Methods. Congratulations, Aziza, and congratulations, Waleed, on everything that you were able to accomplish during this time. And as of now, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker today is Milagros Tecacho. She is coming to us actually from, next speaker is Alexandra Sanchez. She is age 15. She's coming from Ica, Peru. She's in the June 2024 cohort. She's in the Research Scholar Combo Track, Natural and Social Sciences, and the 10-week program. Her project is called Harvesting the Cosmos. And Alexandra, we are ready for you. You may have the floor. Oh, Alexandra, your mic is turned off, so we're gonna have you restart again, and you can turn on your mic.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You may now begin.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Alexandra Sanchez. I'm from Ica, Peru. And today I'm going to present my investigation that is Harvesting the Cosmos, Analyzing Economic Growth, Ethical Implication, and Social Impact of Sustainable Astromining for a Future-Ready Civilization. A brief presentation overview. At first, we will add the introduction, where we would take the definition and the current advancements, then the economic growth, potential and investments, the ethical implication, environmental and legal consideration, the social impact, as well as job creation and public perception, the technological advancements, innovation and benefits, and the sustainability, as well as the future direction. At some point, everything's going to go south on you, and you're going to say, this is it, this is how I am. Now you can either accept that or you can get to work. What is astromining? Astromining is the process of extracting valuable minerals and resources from asteroids in space. It involves sending spacecraft to mine these celestial bodies for metal, such as platinum, gold, and rare elements, which are crucial for advancing technology and supporting future space missions. This innovative field aims to harness the vast untapped resources of the cosmos to address Earth's resource scarcity and propel humanity's exploration and utilizations of space. Historical evolution of astromining. In the 1960s and the 1970s, visionaries like Gerald O'Connell proposed using space resources for colonization and mining, laying the groundwork for space resource utilization. In the 1980s, John S. Lewis published the first academic paper on space mining, discussing the feasibility of asteroid resources for space colonization and cost reduction. In the 1980s as well, NASA and other agencies conducted feasibility studies on mining the moon and asteroid, transitioning from concepts to practical planning. In the 20s, companies like SpaceX began exploring commercial space mining, focusing on extracting water, minerals, and metals. In the 21st century, firms such as Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industry developed advanced technology, highlighting the economic potential and sustainability of asteroid mining. Resource valuation, NEAs, near Earth asteroids. There are around 34, 39 known NEAs. NEA lives fuel around the Moon. NEAs are dynamic neighbors, traveling through the cosmos relatively nearby to our home planet. These are the key to unlocking deep scientific revelation, innovating resource usage, and space exploration revolution. I'm going to expose the three types of NEAs that I'm talking about. The S-type, carbonaceous, rich in carbon, organic compounds, and often contain water or hydrated minerals. Why the water? Because the water can serve for the fuel and the diesel of the rocket ships. S-type, siliceous, composed of silicate minerals and nickel iron metal. The M-type, metallic, mainly composed of metallic iron nickel, and believed to be remnants of the cores of differential pair bodies shattered by collisions. Next one, please. A brief market analysis. Initial investment costs. Spacecraft, taking into account spacecraft improved mining equipment, launch costs, R&D, and mission planning. It is surrounded by 1.5 billion per mission in spacecraft improves, and mission planning around $7,000 million to 1.2 billion. The operational costs, flight operations, 5 million to 100 million a year in crew and mission support, as well as mission post-processing. The expected returns and the profitability. The resource value. Valuable metals could be worth really large sum of money. For example, 1,000 kilograms of platinum may yield 30 million, while 10,000 kilograms of neodymium will release 2 million. The market demand. Rising demand for these materials, coupled with the potential for in-space manufacturing, creates improving economic prospects. Infrastructures in space. Mining helps provide and sustain space research and infrastructure. Next one, please. I'm going to briefly expose some case studies and notable projects and missions in asteroid mining. Deep space industry. Founded in 2013, Deep Space Industry developed technologies for asteroid resource extraction, emphasizing in the sustainability. Key projects include the Prospector X and Prospector 1. SpaceX Starship. Starship is a fully reusable spacecraft designed for crew and cargo missions to the Moon, Mars, and other Earths. Resource stability lowers mission costs, making asteroid mining more economically feasible. The one that I consider the most important, the NASA OSIRIS-REx. The OSIRIS-REx mission, launched in the 2016s, traveled to the asteroid Bennu, known for its precious resources, and successfully collected a surface sample in 2020. This mission offers key insights into asteroid composition, aiding future mining efforts by revealing the distribution of minerals and organic compounds. There is the Planetary Resources. It's a company founded in 2012 that its focus in identifying and mining asteroids rich in water and minerals, water essential in space. Why? Because can be split into hydrogen and oxygens to produce rocket fuel, allowing a spacecraft to refuel in space and significantly reduce mission cost. Next one. The ethical implication. There is the Outer Space Treaty. The Outer Space Treaty is the cornerstone of international space law, signed by over 100 countries, including major spacefaring nations. The key provisions include space as a common province, peaceful purposes, benefits of all countries, responsibility, and liability. Next one, please. The impact of society, the job creation and economic opportunities. As companies and governments invest in astral mining, new sector and industry will emerge, leading to a significant boost in economic growth, the public perception and economy. It is worthy in globalizing the attention in the space field that is normally not really recognized, as well here in Latin America. Community involvement and global operation. Encouraging local and global partnerships to support astral mining projects. It says that if space mining is taken into account, it will benefit to all humankind. Next one, please. Technological advancements. Propulsion systems, ion propulsion systems, and solar electric propulsions, space habitat and life supermodal habitats, as well as closed-loop systems, advanced systems for recycling air, water, and waste to ensure sustainability and reduce Earth reliance, and space manufacturing that would help making more easy all the missions, and resource protection infrastructure construction using astronauts to build and maintain space structure supporting long-term operations. The enhancement in space exploration capabilities include in-situ resource utilization by enabling resource use on-site, as well as the remains in other areas. Next one, please. The impact in the economic growth. High valuable resources, as I mentioned in the PPT below. Industry creation initiates new industry and business opportunity. Sustainable management, diversifying resource extraction to asteroids helps alleviate Earth resource depletion and reduces environmental impact. Global economic integration enhances international economic cooperation, distributing benefits globally, and fostering collaborative space exploration. Transformative opportunity. Astral mining offers sustainable economic returns, supports sustainable development, and drives technological progress. Or future direction. Revolutioning global resources. Astral mining will look at virtually limitless supplies of rare mineral, dramatically reducing Earth resource scarcity. Pioneering space collaboration. By harvesting resources in space, we lay the foundation for sustainable space colony, transforming humanity into multiplanetary species. Eliminating Earth's environmental strains. Space mining will curb the environmental destruction caused by terrestrial mining. Leading technological innovation. The push for efficient space mining will accelerate breakthroughs in AI, robotics, and sustainable energy. Establishing a new economic frontier. Investing in astral mining will create a new space-based economy, positioning early adopters as leader and industry positions. Global collaboration for shared prosperity. Astral mining offers opportunity of mutual cooperation, ensuring benefits for all mankind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. And for everyone in the audience, she is a public high school student in Ica, Peru. She self-taught herself English just a few years ago, and she is reading complex papers at the graduate level in asteroid mining. The first panelist is her mentor, Anna Pugsy Coe, who is an alum of the University of Pennsylvania. Anna, you have the floor.
Hi, Alexandra. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I just want to say that I am really proud of what you're able to put together, especially as Elizabeth mentioned, of all of the things that, you're starting off with. And especially, I know at the beginning you had all these ideas and we were going back and forth. We were like, what should we focus on? So I'm really happy to see you have, stuck to this topic and really just pursued it doggedly. Yeah, I'm really impressed with your determination and your passion. And I think that really came through. You've definitely got like a laser-like focus, and I know you wanted to share us all of the details of everything. Just like one small thing that I would suggest for your next presentation is to like condense some of your presentations into like some main points that like you really want us to come away with. And then, you want to give us a bit of a cliffhanger. So you say, okay, everything that sounds interesting, all of the details, you should check out my paper. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing, Alexandra.
Thank you.
So, and next we have Daniel.
Yeah, I completely agree with Anna. Your passion for the topic really shined through. I was really impressed and really got engaged in the topic of whether astromining will be possible in the future. One thing I was thinking is like how big the opportunity is. Like if there's, I'm thinking, is there asteroids coming near Earth that we can like mine? How many tons of platinum are there? And you really, like, your presentation really got me asking questions, which I think is like the best kind of presentation, because this means I want to, get engaged more in the topic. And I think just shows both, your passion and how interesting the topic is.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. To more information, you can check my paper.
I'll do that. Thank you.
And Savala. Oh, Savala, you're on mute. Okay, while we wait for Savala, Samuel?
Well done. That was really impressive. I liked your laser-like focus. It came across, and I think you could probably have told us a lot more. I think it was interesting to think about the ethical implications, and I sensed a philosophical pause in your presentation when you were kind of considering some of these key points the United Nations Treaty sets out. So I'd like to see you lean into this area a bit more, because I think you can expand on these points, because they all have some sort of ramification when it comes to thinking about a sustainable space colony. So yeah, brilliant synopsis and lots of detail. Well done.
Thank you.
And Savala. And while we wait for Savala, Alexandra, I would just like to say that you have done so much of work. She came to us with a deep passion in astrophysics. She showed us notebooks upon notebooks of her own ideas and notes of physics. And then when she was going through this, she printed out every single paper. We've given them at this point, like probably hundreds of pages of literature to read at the most highest university level of published literature, and she pointed it all out and she highlighted it. She had to translate some of the works to Spanish and then translate it back to English for her own coherent understanding. We are incredibly proud of you in terms of the work you've done today. And as of now, I would like to present to you your certificate of completion. Alexandra, for your capstone research entitled Harvesting the Cosmos, Analyzing Economic Growth, Ethical Implications, and Social Impact of Sustainable Astromining for a Future-Ready Civilization. For your certificate, we chose the image of the cosmos because that is where we believe as high as your research can go. For our very next presenter, I will be welcoming Aijamal Koza-Nova. She is age 16 from Astana, Kazakhstan. She's in the July 2024 cohort. She's in the natural sciences track in the 4-week program, which means from beginning to end, they had only 4 weeks to do this. Aijamal, we welcome you. You now have the floor.
So thank you for being here today, and I'm excited to present my research proposal on a topic that holds significant relevance for both physical and mental health. Addressing the contradictory effects of food restraints, the impact of dietary restrictions on mental health of patients with type 1 diabetes. Next one. While it's well known that food restrictions are necessary for managing diabetes, the psychological aspects of these restrictions are less understood. Our study aims to bridge this gap by examining how these dietary limitations might affect the mental well-being of people with type 1 diabetes. To provide some context, type 1 diabetes is a chronic condition that requires lifelong management. And individuals with type 1 diabetes must carefully monitor their blood sugar levels and follow a strict diet to avoid dangerous spikes in glucose. The dietary guidelines typically emphasize low carbohydrate. Next, please. Okay, the dietary guidelines typically emphasize low carbohydrate and low glycemic index foods, which can help maintain stable blood sugar levels. And the existing studies suggest that healthy low carbohydrate diet treats diabetes and prevents psychological diseases. However, as beneficial as these studies are for the physical health, they can have unintended consequences on mental health. And our research stems from the growing body of evidence suggesting a bidirectional relationship between diabetes and mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression. Moreover, the foods that people are restricted, people find most comforting and palatable, they might have addictive properties. The question we sought to answer is whether these necessary dietary restrictions might paradoxically lead to increased psychological distress. Next, please. Here you can see our research question. Specifically, we aimed to, next, please. Specifically, we aim to provide an overview of cognitive processes behind experiencing food restrictions, reveal the bidirectional relationship between type 1 diabetes and psychological adversity, and propose the design study to explore the impact of dietary restrictions on the mental health of patients with type 1 diabetes. Next. Our literature review revealed several key findings. First, while dietary control is crucial for managing type 1 diabetes, it also contributes to heightened anxiety about food and health. And this anxiety can sometimes lead to psychiatric issues, including the development of eating disorders and diabetes-specific emotional distress. Next, please. We also discovered that the brain's reward system, particularly the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, plays a critical role in how we respond to food. And studies have shown that chronic food restrictions can alter the brain reward sensitivity, leading to increased cravings for restricted foods and potentially contributed to binge eating behaviors. We hypothesized that food restrictions lead to increased psychological distress, including heightened levels of anxiety, depression, and feeling of deprivation in people who are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And the scope of our study is the prevalence of anxiety, depression, disordered eating behaviors, and coping mechanisms, and balanced approaches to diabetes management, also considering both glycemic control and psychological well-being. The study involves an experimental setup with two groups, a control group, which is not subjected to significant dietary restrictions, and an experimental group, experiencing strict food restraints. To explore these ideas further, we designed a study with both qualitative and quantitative components. So the qualitative data is in-depth individual sessions with psychologists during the study, and our quantitative data is questionnaires, blood sugar levels, functional fMRI scans. Independent variables for our research is people's age, low carbohydrates and no glucose diet. Dependent variables include levels of anxiety, emotions, presence or absence of symptoms of depression, and changes in the regions of the brain reward system. We will also use several tools to gather data, including these questionnaires, and we also will monitor participants' HbA1c levels or blood sugar levels as a marker of the glycemic control and use functional fMRI to observe brain activity. Participants will be recruited from various age categories: children, adolescents, and adults. This is to identify any age-specific threats. We will also use non-probability sampling, and our sample size is 10 patients with type 1 diabetes from each age category. Next, please. The study will last 6 months and will hold a win subject mode. And here are some 3 steps in conducting our study. So first off, conducting baseline assessment, this is evaluation of current mental health of patients, their medical history, fMRI scans, and also, which is really important, identifying their preferable foods. And next, we're compose individual dietary plans with restrictions on specific foods. And then the study should conduct follow-up assessments, which includes fMRI scans and also tracking blood glucose levels of patients. And in-depth individual interviews the psychologists. So, based on our literature review and the design of our study, we anticipate several outcomes. First of all, patients with type 1 diabetes subjected to strict diet restrictions may show heightened levels of anxiety in the orbifrontal cortex, a key region in the brain's reward system. And this could indicate an increased sensitivity to food-related rewards. Next. We also expect to see higher levels of anxiety and depression among these patients, and particularly in adults who may have more established eating habits and neural pathways related to food. Next, there also could be a correlation between higher anxiety and poor glycemic control, suggesting that the psychological burden of dietary restrictions might also negatively impact physical health. Next. And prolonged dietary restrictions might impair neuroplasticity in regions involved in reward processing and emotional regulations, specifically in hippocampus. So, it's important to note the limitations of our study. And the control setting might not fully replicate the challenges of managing a diet in a home environment, where food choices are more flexible. And additionally, the non-probability sampling methods might also limit the generalizability of our findings to a broader population. And obviously people's answers and questionnaires might be biased, dishonest, or inconsistent, which will also impact reliability of this data. Next, in conclusion, our study aims to shed light on the often overlooked psychological consequences of dietary restrictions in patients with type 1 diabetes. And we proposed a study which is oriented towards exploring the effects of strict dietary restraints on patients' mental health. So, while these restrictions are important for maintaining physical health, they may also contribute to significant mental health challenges. And this is the motivation that stands behind our study. We also believe that our research will inform more holistic treatment approaches, leading to better dietary plans and interdisciplinary collaboration, ultimately improving the overall well-being of individuals with type 1 diabetes. So, thank you.
Well done,
Looking
Ulanova.
forward to your questions.
Absolutely brilliant, especially addressing a very important question that affects all populations around the globe. The first panelist I'd like to invite is Linda Wertan, Aishmael's mentor, who is an alum of Harvard University. Linda, you have the floor.
Oh, hi, Ajamala. Good to see you again. Great job on your presentation. I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of how much you were able to accomplish in the 4-week program of the summer. When you first started to lean towards writing a research proposal instead of a literature review, I felt that that would be an ambitious project, but that you definitely had the capabilities to achieve it. And now, after reading your final proposal and watching your presentation, I can say for sure that you demonstrated a really impressive level of scientific rigor in consolidating a huge amount of research findings and identifying what the unanswered questions in the dieting and mental health fields are. So especially in your presentation, you did a good job of simplifying technical concepts for the audience and describing the design of your own experiment, which has a lot of different moving factors. I guess my main advice for the future is to just think about, if you were to continue this project, how you might actually carry out the experiments like the one you proposed here, since there's a lot of variables that have to be tracked and a lot of amount of data being produced. But there's a great amount of examples in the literature about how people handle huge data sets, especially in like mental health and dieting fields, and how they consolidate that information to produce really compelling results. But since you're determined to become a research scientist in the future, I'm just really optimistic and looking forward to seeing you become an even stronger scientist as a result, because you've already built a really great foundation here. So great job overall, and congratulations on writing your first full research proposal.
Thank you.
And next we have Daniel.
I would also like to say congratulations, and this was a really great presentation. In the introduction, when you were talking about the problem and the impact and intersection of all these different problems around diabetes and diet and mental health, I think the problem was really clear. I wanted to highlight in particular that how you talk about the methodology, and particularly your understanding of the parameter space, like what are the qualitative and quantitative results that you'll obtain, what are the dependent and independent variables, and how can we use these to do statistical analysis. I think this is one of the key things in science, and particularly in healthcare with large data sets, having a really rigorous understanding of both like your input and output variables, and also how to do scientific and statistical analysis on this to reach valid conclusions is so important. And I think you very clearly laid the groundwork to be able to do this statistical analysis if you were to carry out the project. So congratulations and really great work.
Great, thanks.
And Sabalai?
Hi, I'm back. So sorry, whereby kind of froze on me. This is a great topic, and I really enjoyed your presentation. I wanted to ask if for non-compliance, I'm wondering. This is just me thinking out loud. It seems like for people who struggle with the emotional or psychological aspect of complying with a strict diet, because with insulin management, it's not just what you eat, right? It's when you eat and how much you eat. So there are additional dimensions that you can look at too, in terms of, it seems like people who have anxiety or depression, they also have issues with sticking to routines and schedules. So that would be an interesting dimension for your research.
And lastly, we have Samuel.
Congratulations. It's a really thorough presentation. I like that you spoke very clearly and slowly about all your key points. And as your mentor, Linda, had reiterated, the scientific rigor you demonstrated was really clear, and it's very impressive. I think when you're going to be moving on with big data sets, there's all sorts of tools that you can use to help manage perhaps some of the more holistic things that you will come up with to do with mental health issues. But yeah, can't wait to see what you do in the future. Super talented, so well done.
Thank you.
And Aijamal, for everyone, she's only 16. She wrote a university-level research proposal, which includes a question, a literature review, methodology, and everything else that's in it in just the last 4 weeks. I am incredibly proud of you, and at this point, I would like to award you your certificate of completion for your capstone project titled Addressing the Contradictory Effects of Food Restraints: The Impact of Dietary Restrictions on Mental Health of Patients with Type 1 Diabetes. Congratulations, Aijamal. I cannot wait to see how you will continue to actually pursue this throughout your career. And lastly, our next presenter will be Sonia Batul. She is age 16. She's from Hyderabad, Pakistan. She's in the June 2024 cohort. She's a research scholar in the combo track of natural and social sciences in the 10-week program. And Sonia, you have the floor. Oh, Sonia, turn on your microphone.
Hello, I am Sania Batul. I am a 16-year-old teenager from Hyderabad, Pakistan. I'm excited to connect with you all today and share some insight into transformative role of surgical robots in patient care in cancer treatment, their impact on work life of healthcare professionals. Today, we will explore how surgical robots are shaping patient trust in oncology and influencing healthcare workers with a quick focus on job satisfaction. Robots, a quick revelation. Since the introduction of first industrial robot in 1960, the field of robotics had advanced dramatically. Robots have transitioned from performing simple tasks in factories to becoming essential tool in modern medicine. Surgical robots are now used in hospital to assist a surgeon in performing complex procedure with a greater precision and control. These advancements lead to safer surgeries, quicker recoveries, and they reduce time and we will say reduce rate of complication for patient. For example, robotic assisted surgery in oncology allow enhanced techniques which can particularly lessen the physical trauma to the patient. This result in shorter hospital stay and a faster return to daily activities, thereby enhancing the overall patient experience and fostering trust in robotic technology. We can next. Military and defense. In the military, robots are deployed to carry out dangerous tasks such as bomb disposal and missions. These applications not only help save lives but also allow human personnel to focus on strategic decision making. However, as we embrace this technological advancement, we must also be mindful of the challenges it might bring. Increase reliance on robot in defense, increase the cybersecurity risks where the system can become target for cybersecurity attacks. Ensuring the security and reliability of these robotic systems is an important aspect of their integration into military operation. For the methodology and focus area, yes, thank you. Our research involved a comprehensive literature review to identify gaps in existing study and highlighting areas for improvement in RAS, robotic assisted surgery. We focus on several key factors. Next. Comprehensive longitudinal study, economical evaluation, training and certified programs, ethical and legal research, patient-centered approach. Next. Robotic assisted surgery in oncology represent a significant advancement in medical technology, leading to a better patient outcome and quicker recoveries. While a study highlights impressive progress, it also emphasizes that the need for ongoing research and innovation in this rapidly evolving field. There is much more to learn about how we can optimize robotic system to enhance both patient care and experience of healthcare workers. Thank you for your attention and interest.
Great job, Sanya. And as of now, I would like to invite her mentor, which is Anna Pugsy-Coe, an alum of the University of Pennsylvania. Anna, you have the floor.
All right. Hi, Sania. I just want to say that also I'm extremely proud of you. Yeah, it has honestly been such a pleasure to work with you for the past several months. I remember when you came in talking about wanting to, build like a surgical robot for pancreatic cancer. And we were like, okay, you might not be building a robot with us, but, but the thing is like, we're so excited to see you pursue this journey and start, with the very first steps of just writing and getting used to the field so that one day you can actually build a robot. I want you to never lose sight of that and keep your eyes on the prize. Yeah, I also really am just in awe of your determination and how you've pressed on, despite, like, you talked about being concerned about your English and all of that, but I think the work that you've done has just blown us out of the water. So yeah, I'm just really proud of what you've been able to put together and what you've been able to show us and contribute. So yeah, great job, Sonia.
Thank you.
And we have Daniel.
That was a really amazing presentation. I find this topic such a cool, like, futuristic idea of, how are we ever going to have this future dream of automated robots that are doing surgeries and not making any mistakes ever. And I think it's such an exciting topic. I think right now we're on, like, the cusp of being, beforehand people thought it was crazy, and now people are starting to realize, wait, this is actually possible. I think you really showed your passion, and I can't wait to see you actually building robots. Full confidence that you can do this.
Hopefully. Thank you.
And we have Sabali.
Yes, congratulations on your presentation and your research project.
Thank you.
I would really love to see, you pursue future directions in this topic. It seems like it's a big area of interest for you. So best wishes. Feel free to contact me, and this goes to all the other students too. You have my name there. I'm on LinkedIn. So I'm here anytime.
Thank you so much.
And we have Samuel.
Congratulations. I can really feel that you've blossomed and learned a lot through the process of being mentored by Anna. So it's been a good team effort between the two of you. I think it's important to have a spirit of inquiry, which you clearly have. And as Daniel was saying, to ask these big questions about, in the hypothetical sense, where will we be in the future? So I think that the process of learning through your research has really shown that you're interested in seeing where we're going to go in the future. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Sonia, congratulations on all the hard work you have done. To everyone else, I would also like to point out, Sonia came to us as a public student in Pakistan. She told me, I don't know if I speak English, because she is self-taught, and she's been reading this university-level literature on robotic-assisted surgery. That is how far she has come. That's how far she has worked. It's not just about what she has presented today, but it's about where she began and the deep learning curve that she had to dive and undergoing this project, from learning the basic levels of how to put together a literature review to even understand the more complexities of medical terminology. At this time, Sonia, I would like to award you your certificate of completion for your capstone project titled The Influence of Surgical Robots on Patient Trust in Oncology and Healthcare Workers, with a focus on job satisfaction. I would like to essentially say that wherever you go, you have such a bright future. And it is very true. The first time we met, I interviewed all of them one-on-one. She said, I want to build a robot in the future, and I want to be able to use this to treat and help cancer patients. This is your certificate right here.
Thank you.
Just like we've spoken many times today, we hope your research goes as far as the cosmos may take you. And now at this point, we had she was our ninth scholar of today. We have 13 scholars today from 10 different countries. As of now, we are going to have a 15-minute intermission. So I would say we are all in different time zones all around the world. So you now have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Okay, so hello everyone, I am Azazin Zamba from Uzbekistan, Tashkent, and I wrote a literature review on topic of triple frontier of space tourism, effects on human life, sustainability, and public opinion. My paper focuses on growing field of space tourism, a field that is pushing the boundaries of what we once thought was impossible. Next, please.
So we will cover what is space tourism, a history of it, impact on people, sustainability, public perceptions, and additional survey I collected. Next, please. Now, some people may have heard of it. So space tourism is essentially refers to the activity of traveling into space for leisure and recreational purposes. As Annette Toivonen, an expert in sustainable space tourism field, notes that space tourism isn't just about an adventure and thrill. It's about redefining our understanding of planet and our place within the cosmos. Next, please. And the idea of space tourism started in 2001 when Dennis Tito decided that he wanted to fly to space and paid $20 million. With Roscosmos, he flew to ISS, which was International Space Station, and stayed there nearly 8 days. Then, till 2009, Roscosmos launched 6 more civilians to ISS, who were famous people like Greg Olson, Richard Garriott, and others. Then after a lot of not active years, in 2021, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, and Blue Origin launched their first full commercial flights, giving a start of flight, making a total of 19 missions. Next, please. So these missions have impacted people in many ways. Like it has affected by deepening one's appreciation for our planet and its fragility, known as our view effect, and increased feeling of interconnectedness, global citizenship, and environmental concern, while providing unique opportunities for research in natural environment of space, and also inspired interest in STEM fields, especially astronomy. Next, please. When passenger on board of Soyuz TMA-13 of Roscosmos and space tourist Richard Garriott was asked what was the most deeply impressive thing during his spaceflight, he said that the most profound aspect of space tourism was looking back at the Earth over 2 weeks that he was in space. Seeing the Earth from space over a period of 2 weeks, it was truly life-changing event for him, as he slowly discovered just by looking all of the Earth's operations and natural mechanics, like weather and erosion and tectonic plate movements. They were just a wonderful to see from space. Next, please. However, there are some critical challenges like sustainability. As with more flights and missions, we face the issue of increasing space debris and harmful effects of space missions, not only in our planet, but also space itself. Next, please. According to NASA 2020, 5,250 space launches equal to orbital waste yard of around 23,000 objects, which weigh around 8,000 tons of space debris, which makes a lot, and it circles freely around the orbit of the Earth. Moreover, spacecrafts leave black carbon particles in the stratosphere for 10 years, and just 1,000 space tourism-related launches could affect a global temperature increase up to 1 degree Celsius, which leads to extremely harmful effect that can make our planet Earth unbearable to live in. For this, there have been some suggestions as making reusable rockets using can you go back? Sorry. For this, there have been some suggestions as making reusable. Go back, please. Again. Okay. The next. Next one. Next. Okay, thank you. For this, there have been some suggestions as making reusable rockets, which SpaceX is currently practicing on, using carbon offsetting method, in which consumers pay a fee to offset a carbon emissions caused by the trip. This fee is then invested in carbon offsetting projects such as planting trees or investment in energy efficiency or renewable energy projects, and using safe type of fuels to the environment. Next, please. And I have examined the past surveys and polls in public opinion. and as a public perception plays a vital role in the future of space tourism. So most sources show that people generally have a positive view of space, and my paper examines a couple of aspects of public opinion, such as willingness to participate. According to some sources, I found that more than 50% of people are positive and they want to experience and try space tourism, while most cases, more than 30% do not want to experience it. Motivations for space travel. Top motivations include viewing space from Earth, experiencing weightlessness, and a strong interest in space experiences and trying a new scientific experience in there. Environmental concerns. Most people have shown environmental concerns toward the space flights, and some people even decided that they don't want to experience space tourism because it harms environment a lot. And the last one was willingness to pay. Space tourism is actually expensive, so most people are ready to pay over 5,000, while 20% of people were unwilling to pay at all. Next, please. So I also made additional survey on this topic to know the opinion of public, and this survey was taken from 72 people who are not selected under any criteria, and 86%, which is the most percent of people, are from 14 to 25 years old age group, and most people are from Uzbekistan or US citizens. And most people are in school and in university and in work. Next, please. So when they are asked, will they consider going to space trip? Lots of people said yes, and they agreed, which makes up like 63, more than 64% of people. Next. When they are asked, are they afraid of space tourism? Most people answered that they are not afraid, which makes up 45%, and only 23% said that they are afraid of it. Next, please. When they are asked if space tourism do they think that it's harmful anyway? In any way, some people were doubtful about it, which means that most people lack the knowledge on environmental issues which space tourism creates. Next, please. When they are asked, is sustainability environmental? Is space tourism should be environmental friendly? Lots of people, which makes up 75% of people, said yes, and they agreed that it's important for space tourism to be sustainable. Next, please. When they are asked which environmental issues and related to space activities concern them the most, most people picked that impact on Earth's atmosphere was the most concerning for them, and followed by space debris and rocket emissions were the topics that concern people the most. Next, please. And when they're asked, there should be more regulations to ensure the sustainability of space tourism, 80% of people agreed that there should be more regulations. Next, please. When they are asked if they will support the efforts to make space tourism more sustainable, 77%, which makes up the most, agreed that they will support it. Next, please. So, a conclusion. I have read many literature surrounding this field, and analyzed that future research aimed at developing a greater understanding of sustainable space tourism and public opinion should be focused on the following. And I can say that these were gaps that need to be filled. First, long-term environmental impact from space tourism. Most people usually consider short-term impact, but long-term impacts should be considered as well. Second, public perception of space tourism, issues concerning space tourism, in particular across different demographic groups. For example, there have been surveys on British people, Finnish people, Chinese people, but there have been no other surveys on other demographic groups. And the third one is development of and impact of policy frameworks that ensure the sustainable growth in space tourism industry. So in conclusion, I want to emphasize that when space tourism economy can operate efficiently in an environmentally friendly way, the high technological cost of space exploration will benefit generations. And science and technology should play a vital role in promoting the co-development of economic and environmental conservations. And we must realize that the sustainable development of space is not the responsibility of nation or region, but an important topic that all humanity must be involved in. That's why it's really important to ensure that public is aware of it, and they should show their opinion on this field. And please check out my paper, because this paper highlights the importance of sustainable practice in space tourism and provides insight into public perceptions, contributing into a more informed and responsible development of the industry. Next, please. Thank you.
Congratulations, Izoza. I'm incredibly proud of you. And to those in the audience, I would just like to say, in addition to being a young scientific scholar, she's also fluent in Korean, Russian, Uzbek, English, and currently learning Japanese as well. So we have definitely a multilingual, multi-talented young scholar. And I'm going to give the floor to Anna Pugsley-Coe, an alum of UPenn, who was her mentor. Anna, you have the floor.
Izoza, yeah, just I also just want to emphasize that I'm so proud of you. I think like your passion and just like your initiative and resourcefulness in like gathering all of the literature and finding all the information and coming to me with all your ideas, I think you like really stood out to me in this way. And I would actually really love to see in the future you expanding this topic like into like a more like scientific and systematized survey, because I know like I could just like see like the the excitement, the fire in your eyes and your voice when you settled on the idea of education and public perception of space tourism. So yeah, I'm just really excited what you're going to do in the future. And also, I hope it's okay for me to mention, but you created a really amazing website for this topic, like all on your own. So yeah, I would love to see you post it, you know, in the Slack or somewhere else, because your website is really amazing and more people need to see it.
All right, thank you so much. I'll make sure to send it in the Slack.
Yes, definitely put it in community sharing, because we all want to see it. She really did. And in addition, that's just something she did as an extracurricular on top of doing college level research as a high schooler in Uzbekistan. And next we have Daniel.
That is such a cool project. Really nicely presented and great slides and like tying together the whole story. I was particularly impressed with the combination of both reading the literature and understanding the literature, what have other people been writing about, and then combining this with surveys. And obviously this leads into like, what are people thinking when they reply in certain ways. I think you also had some really nice reflections on when somebody, you know, replies in a certain way. It might be yes, no, or not sure, but then trying to like take that to the next level and, well, what can we learn from this kind of on a deeper level, and how does this inform future research directions? So yeah, overall, congratulations on your project and really well done.
Thank you so much.
Savalai.
Great presentation. Believe it or not, a couple of days ago, I was having dinner with my friends and we were talking about space tourism. And I think we were trying to see if people are attracted to the idea of space tourism because they want to see Earth from far away from that perspective, or to experience microgravity. For me, I was kind of in the camp of like, oh, I don't know. It seems like a lot to go into space. So one fun side conversation we had was, how much of this can you emulate in VR to give people that experience of space tourism in VR. Just some idea that I wanted to throw out there, but I really enjoyed your presentation. It's definitely a fun topic to explore.
And
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well done. Really fascinating. Just to follow on from the comments about VR, a British sculptor called Anthony Gormley partnered with a VR company called Acute, and he was dealing with this aspect of the overview effect, the cognitive shift, and how we see our planet when we look from space. I like the interplay between you thinking about is being in space and looking back, helping humanity reflect on how fragile the planet is. But then there's kind of offset by the economic and the environmental impact of flying people into space. It can't be good unless we can create some very clever biofuels. So yeah, really fascinating, and I think you're a great advocate for doing research into this area and seeing what the outcomes are. So well done.
Thank you.
Izoza, congratulations. As a multilingualist who is so passionate about so many different topics, at this point, I would like to award you your certificate of completion with the topic, The Triple Frontier of Space Tourism, Effects on Human Life, Sustainability, and Public Sentiment. Your inquiry towards this topic, as well as your passion towards the future that we must adhere to and must think thoroughly about, is something that's an inspiration to us and the entire team. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
For our next presenter, we have Milagros Tacacho. She is 16 years old. She's from Salta, Argentina. She's in the June 2024 cohort. She's a research scholar in the combo track of Natural and Social Sciences in a 10-week program. Her title is Public Policies and Their Impacts on Argentina's Nuclear Energy Sector, a critical analysis of ley de bases. Millie, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Milagros Tacacho, as Elizabeth says. I'm from Argentina. I made this project, Public Policies and Their Impact on Argentina's Nuclear Energy Sector, Critical Analysis and Ley de Bases. Next. First, I will try to say some key concepts before starting. First, we got nuclear energy and its importance. Well, there are a lot of common misconceptions regarding to nuclear energy, but to start, I need to clarify that nuclear energy is an important low-emission source of electricity that currently provides about 10% of global electricity generation, and it's a constant and controllable energy source, and also it's vital for tomorrow's world, and also it's an energy that preserves health. It's good, even though that there are common misconceptions that says that it is not. Next. Well, to start and to explain what is nuclear energy, you need to explain what is an atom and how it works. Basically, an atom is the smallest particle of a chemical element that that can exist. And in an atom, you can in an atom, it is made up of protons that are positive particles and neutrons. That is then neutrons and protons are on the nucleus, and in an atom you can also see electrons that are negative particles that move around the nucleus. Next. With these particles of the nucleus, you can produce nuclear energy. And the nuclear energy can be produced by two simple methods. One is the fission, where a nucleus is divided, and then the other one is fission, where two particles can be unified and form a nucleus, an atom. That is fission. But most nuclear energy is produced by fission on the nuclear power plants. Next. Well, in a nuclear power plant, you can see a nuclear reactor where the nuclear energy is converted the nuclear power in the movement of nucleus. It's converted to kinetic energy, and then this kinetic energy is converted to thermal energy in a coolant. Then this thermal energy is converted into kinetic energy of steam, and this kinetic energy is converted to electrical energy in wires by the turbine generator. Next. As I said previously, there are a lot of common misconceptions, and most people have been trying to close a lot of nuclear energy power plants in around the world. And most of them says that nuclear energy is not safe, or it's bad for the environment, or that emits smoke, or that can explode like a nuclear bombs, or and a new Hiroshima bomb can happen in the world. But it's actually not true, and there are a lot of there have been a lot of improvement on the nuclear sector, and a lot of new ways of improving security have been taken. Next. And well, I'm trying now to concentrate my research on how these misconceptions lead to politicians to take serious decisions on the science and technology sector, and specifically on the nuclear sector. In Argentina, a new government has rise to power this year, which Milei have taken a lot of new decisions, and one of those had been a new article that it contains a new law that is Ley de Bases. And this Ley de Bases contains a lot of articles that have a lot of people to talk about them, and also to protest and do a lot of things regarding to that. And one of them was one of those that I want to talk about today are mostly connected to nuclear energy and the science and technology sector. Next. On nuclear sector in Argentina, there are actually only three nuclear power plants. One is in Cordoba, is in Balse, the last one, and then two are in Buenos Aires, Atucha 1 and Atucha 2. Those ones have been made in 1970s, like a long time ago, and the embalse is the latest one in that had been made in 2000. And there was another project to build another one in 2010, more or less, but it had been the project had been canceled for a lot of political decisions. Next. And now I want to talk about the databases and some certain articles that have taken my attention and that can contribute to some impediments on the nuclear sector. One is Article 3, that it's about the consent to change and restructure certain state agencies. And one of those like impact on nuclear projects, and one, as I said before, there was like a plan to build a new small molecular reactor that was called CAREM 25, and there have been a lot of projects regarding to small molecular reactors that were about to be constructed, but there had been canceled for this law and other laws. Next. Another article that was important for me was article number 8, that was about privatization of NASA, that was or is an Argentine nuclear power operator, and that basically takes a lot of decisions regarding to the nuclear sector in Argentina. And the privatization of this operator can impact on the closure of an existing plant or entry of new investors that threatens their state control. And that basically means that if the government allows people to invest, it can be productive. Otherwise, if they don't allow it, it cannot be made, and that will also contribute to projects, as I said previously, that will be canceled or not be taken to exist or to improve the nuclear sector. Next. Another article that is important was Article 52, that not only talked about nuclear sector and power plants, but also talked about people and personal restructuring. Well, it also can affect on the impact of job flexibility and expertise retention, and how people and that work on the nuclear sector can be taken away of their jobs, or can not be there. Uh, for example, they work on an institute of the nuclear sector, and they get fired just because the government says they don't do nothing, or they're not doing something good for the sector, even if they really do and are working on the projects that are important, like the current 25 that I explained, or any kind of project regarding to that, but the government just don't recognize them. Next. So in conclusion, as I said before, there are a lot of ways that the nuclear sector can contribute to Argentina or in any country economical betterment or improvement, and also can be good for the sustainable energy policies and improvement in the world. Um, and it has a strategic importance for the present and future society. And I also want to say that its legislative changes can have serious consequences and put a lot of people and plans for nuclear sector and science and technology sector at risk. And also, we need to promote scientific awareness and public engagement and support for sustainable energy policies. Because if people have and still think of the misconceptions and get all of those negative comments from people and think that this kind of energy or anything it's wrong, they will probably believe the ones that they think, and not to get in more information about it, and won't promote sustainable energy policies or anything that can contribute to the improvement of the country. So it's important that more people get this awareness and public engagement, and also to include teenagers on this process, because I as I was researching this, I've been seeing that a lot of people of my age didn't even know what nuclear energy was, or what was happening in Argentina with the new laws on like ley de bases or protests against a lot of things that were going on right now. But it's important that more teens and people under 18 can understand and also be part of the solution. Well, next. Thanks. Thanks for watching.
Congratulations, Millie. You are actually, so Millie is my mentee. I am her mentor. I would like to say that Millie came to us, and remember your first interview so stunningly. She's a public high school student in Salta, Argentina. A year ago, she was just learning how to write English, paragraphs in English, and to do the research for her project. She actually not only had to understand the technical mechanisms behind how a nuclear reactor functions, the construction of a nuclear reactors, the maintenance cost of them, but she also went into the legal framework of Argentinian law, which is highlighted by the ley de bases. Went into that, found the three most distinct articles, the three that she presented today, understood them, synthesized them, and put out their direct impacts on the construction and maintenance and investments of nuclear reactor, as well as the people and communities that live within those environments. She had to go through such a huge breadth of range to be able to produce a project today, and I am so proud of you, and your passion is so clearly conveyed. And and next we have Daniel.
That was a really great talk. I completely agree with Elizabeth. And one thing I wanted to highlight in particular was what I was impressed by was how you were able to tie so many different things together in one presentation, starting with the motivations and kind of thoughts that people have around nuclear energy, and how, like you said, it's a bit of a scary word to a lot of people, but actually it's one of like the key solutions to climate change that we already have available and already are using, and then tying that into like the physics of how a nuclear reactor works and how nuclear fission works, and then even inside the same presentation, then going like deep into the politics of like, here's what's going on in Argentina, and then having this red line through or this common thread throughout the entire presentation and tying it all together, I think was really impressive. So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
And Savali?
I really enjoyed your presentation. I think it was also a visually beautiful presentation. I learned a lot during your talk, and it's a great topic. It's very, very important for a sustainable, a sustainable future in energy. So keep on going. Great job.
And Samuel.
I loved your presentation. I thought it was really thorough, and you covered a lot of the sustainable energy policies, which was really key for you to kind of get to grips with that. And I liked at the end of the presentation that you started to think about how to enhance public engagement with the topic, and I could see that starting to fire into some ideas. So it'd be really lovely to see where you take that in the future. So well done.
Millie, at this time, I would like to award you your certificate of completion for your capstone project, Public Policies and Their Impact on Argentina's Nuclear Sector, a critical analysis of ley de bases. I am so proud of you, and I remember the first time we met, you were just like, I want to be able to provide and be a voice for those that can't weather, and you are definitely doing that, and I'm so excited to see what comes next for you. And I'm very, very happy to have been your mentor. And next we have Melissa Tatar. Our next presenter, Melissa, is age 17. She lives in Ankara, Turkey. She's in the July 2024 cohort. She's a research scholar in the social sciences track in the 4-week program. Melissa, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Melissa Tatar, and the title of my literature review is Abortion, Mental Health, and Religion in the U.S., Unveiling the Complex Interplay Affecting Women Seeking Abortions. Next. So, in this presentation, we will be examining the psychological effects of abortion, explore the role of religious beliefs, and clarify the impact of religion on mental health. The questions that we will be answering is, what are the psychological effects of abortion on women? How do religious beliefs influence these psychological effects? And what are the existing gaps in research regarding religion and abortion psychological effects? Next. So the question that I asked myself while writing my paper was, how do religious beliefs influence the psychological effects of abortion on women in the United States? Next. So before everything, I want to start by giving some context first. In 2022, the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization overturned federal abortion protections, causing a mix of state-specific abortion laws. The landmark ruling sparked renewed debates on abortion, which consequently led to me writing my paper. And in my review, I examined the psychological effects of abortion with a special emphasis on how religious beliefs influence these effects. The reason that I particularly focused on religion is because many studies focus on mental health outcomes of abortion, but often overlook the role of religious beliefs. In my research, I aim to address this gap to provide a better understanding of how religion influences the psychological effects of abortion. For the scope of my review, I narrowed in on women who seek abortions and women with diverse religious beliefs. I deliberately excluded external factors such as miscarriages or relationship issues because I wanted a more targeted analysis on a more manageable scope. Next. So for my resource selection, I reviewed 15 articles, but I only used 11 articles among them comprehensively. Next. For the results, among the studies that I evaluated, research showed conflicting results. A study suggests that abortion can lead to serious negative mental health effects, while other studies argue and state that abortion's mental health impact is minimal or within expected ranges. Findings agrees with this view and suggests that legal and voluntary abortions typically do not lead to severe mental health issues in healthy women. Now, the important emphasis here is the specific mention of healthy women because a study highlights that 81% of women who obtained abortions experienced an increased risk of mental health problems, although nearly 10% of those problems were shown to be directly attributable to abortion. And here we can see that abortion by itself is not always the root of these mental health issues women may experience, but instead we have to take external factors into account as well. Next. Further link between abortion and mental health and the findings, after the Dobbs decision, an increase in anxiety and depression symptoms in states with trigger laws were observed. This can be a good indicator to show that prohibition of abortion may cause stress among people. A main finding is that women often experience a mix of relief and guilt post-abortion, with less regret about the abortion than the pregnancy. Here we can see that women experience conflicting emotions during or post-abortion. Another notable aspect is that a vast majority of women who had obtained an abortion reported a week later that having the procedure was the right decision for them. Next. So for religion's role regarding to the topic of abortion, I want to start by giving some historical context first. Many ancient cultures and religions have historically opposed abortion due to beliefs about installment and morality. A key aspect of this historical opposition involves the installment debate. Opinions on when human life begins differ widely. Some believe it starts at conception, while some other people argue it begins later in the pregnancy. For the impact of religious beliefs on women's mental health, it was observed that women whose religion prohibits abortion often face greater psychological stress and guilt. This is due to the conflict between their personal circumstances and their religious teachings. In contrast, individuals who are religiously unaffiliated generally find abortion more acceptable, and this group tends to have more flexible views on abortion compared to those with strong religious beliefs. Next. For the conclusion, most studies refute the idea that abortion leads to severe psychological problems, suggesting that the real impact may come from pre-existing circumstances or societal stigma. Religious beliefs significantly influence the psychological impact of abortion, often amplifying stress and guilt. Next. Now here I want to give some recommendations. I believe it is crucial to ensure access to safe abortion services and better counseling to support women who navigate these complex issues, rather than restricting services of abortion. Another aspect is that further research should explore how religious beliefs intersect with the mental health outcomes of abortion, while also delving into the external factors that I previously mentioned. Next. So before ending my presentation, I want to make some acknowledgements and thank my mentor Pontus. I also want to thank Elizabeth for making all of this possible for me, and I want to thank Anna, who was my success manager. So thank you everyone for listening to me and for your attention. This is the end of my presentation.
Melissa, you did such an amazing job, and I want to give the floor first to Pontus, your mentor, who is an alum of both Columbia and Oxford and is actually calling us in from Hawaii right now. So Pontus, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Melissa, for that great presentation. I thought the presentation was amazing. You did a great job, and I'm very, very lucky to have been having the privilege to work with you, for this last month. You have done a great job, and it's been very very fun to see you grow during this process as well, conducting the research. And I think your research is very, very interesting. Your presentation was top notch, to the point, and I really like how you narrowed it and narrowed the scope of your presentation and of your research as a whole. And the research you're doing is very, very interesting. It's very, very sort of an issue right now, considering the Dobbs decision that happened. And I think you're highlighting a very important point that is oftentimes overlooked, I think, when it comes to abortion issues. So again, great job. Very, very happy to have, had the privilege of working with you, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you so much.
And Daniel.
First of all, I would like to say that I think it was a really great presentation. It's such an important topic for society, very topical, and I think your passion for understanding both access to abortions and also the effects of abortions on the individual woman, it really showed in your presentation. One thing I'd like to highlight that I was impressed by was your ability to find a gap in the knowledge that was simultaneously so important and also overlooked. And I really could follow your line of thinking from the very beginning of trying to find what is an important factor in the effects of abortion and what is perhaps an overlooked factor, and then really exploring this interplay between religious beliefs with having abortions. So that was really impressive, and I felt I learned something new. So yeah, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
I also learned lots of new things from your presentation. I really liked it, and I thought it was very well organized, and I can tell that you did a lot of research, and I really especially liked how you explained the motivations behind your research. I thought that point was very clearly communicated, and it's great. It's very nice how you limited the scope of your research, and it was a very, very, I could tell the what's the word I'm looking for, the progression of ideas of how you came to the topic. Well done.
Thank you.
And Samuel.
Congratulations. I thought you had a really clear line of inquiry. I particularly like this kind of interplay between the moral and religious questions around it. And quite clearly, there's so much that we don't know about the psychological effects and impacts of abortion. So yeah, some really big questions there. And I thought you dealt with it with sensitivity. So congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Melissa, for your courage to address a topic that is so timely today, I would like to award you at this time your certificate of completion for your project, Abortion, Mental Health, and Religion in the U.S., unveiling the complex interplay affecting women seeking abortions. Congratulations, well done, and for being able to, which is the most important understanding within a research project, is seeing the gaps and being able to start the conversation and where that needs to be told. And now our very last scholar of today and our very last scholar presentation is Varnessa, our youngest scholar ever. She is only 13. She's coming from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. She's in the June 2024 cohort. She's a research scholar in the combo track of Natural and Social Sciences and the 10-week program. Varnessa, you have the floor.
Good day, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kai Valentin, and throughout my period in Girls in Research, I've been researching on the topic, the implications of AI and robotics in the field of neuroscience. Please, next slide. Okay, so the aims and objectives of this research is that, first of all, to cover the field of neuroscience in the 21st century with the technological revolution, specify the role of AI and robotics in this field, understand the current threats and challenges faced in this revolution, and understanding the technological revolutions in this field, and finally, answering the burning question going through human minds. Next slide, please. Okay, so does the prevalence of AI and robotics make neuroscientists feel less relevant in the field where everything is automated? Okay, so the reason why I chose my topic, the implications of AI and robotics in the field of neuroscience, is because watching a lot of sci-fi movies and seeing how robotics and AI are transforming many fields from the entertainment industry to the manufacturing industry, I was curious to know if this AI and robotics, how it would affect the field of medicine, especially the area of medicine I'm passionate, which is neuroscience, and if it will make neuroscientists lose their job and pose certain threats and challenges. So this may not seem to be a huge problem to some, but has caused the concerns of many whether artificial intelligence or robotics may replace neuroscientists. This might seem like a small problem, but it determines the future of neuroscience in this technologically built era. Please, next slide. Okay, so why is my project important? First of all, my project is important because it builds ethical conditions and making sure that AI and robotics do not make neuroscientists lose necessary skills. Because if they are dependent on this robotics and AI, they lose certain skills. And when these skills are needed in areas that robotics and AI are not available, then it's posing a threat to life. Also, understanding the impacts of neuroscience, explore the intersections, challenges, implications, and current stress faced in the neuroscience jobs and tasks usually done by the neuroscientists. Predicting the future of neuroscience in order to prepare ahead and mitigate certain problems and challenges. And finally, addressing the burning question going through human mind, which is, does the prevalence of AI and robotics make neuroscientists to feel less relevant in a field where everything is automated? Please, next slide. Okay, a simple breakdown of the field. First of all, I use the word neuroscience more often because I wanted to cover the whole field, the whole neuroscience, and how AI and robotics affects this field. But neuroscience is a large field with different branches under, such as psychology, neurology, neurosurgery, cognitive science, etc. So I mostly focused on areas as neurosurgery, psychology, neurology, and also did a generalization among all the fields of neuroscience and how AI and robotics affects this field. Please, next slide. Okay, so the current trends. As I said earlier, I did a technological revolution in my research and how it has been evolving from the Middle Ages, the Renaissance period, to 18th and 19th century, and coming down to the 21st century. And I discovered that in this 21st century, the current trends are not just microscopes. Now we have artificial intelligence, robotics, electrophysiology, imaging techniques, genomics, proteomics, opsogenics, and brain-computer interfaces, etc. So these are the current trends in the field of neuroscience, but I'll be focusing mainly on AI and robotics. Please, next slide. Okay, methodology. So for this, my research, I had to find 37, I found 37 articles from Google and Google Scholar. After finding these articles, I sorted them out, and 20 articles were excluded because most of them were from magazine posts, blog posts, informal academic papers, leaving only 8 articles relevant, plus an extra 4 articles to explain some certain terminologies. And in total, 12 articles were used for this review. So in general, it was based on quality rather than quantity. Next slide, please. Why I chose to use this methodology: for deeper insights on this topic, for flexibility, and for more reliable and precise information. Next slide. Okay, so what were the results after researching on this AI and robotics? Next slide. So first of all, the role that AI and robots play. They play lots of roles, and some of them highlighted here include diagnosing, brain imaging, data collection, neurosurgical procedures, and many more. This is to say that AI and robotics are making the field, making some certain tasks now automated. Next slide. Okay, so the threats and challenges posed by AI and robotics. First of all, the threats. Let's bring sci-fi into a reality. We hear that in sci-fi movies or sci-fi books, AI and robots are taking over the world. They are going to replace humans. And I think that this is somehow true if we humans rely too much on AI and robotics. And that is what's happening in the field of neuroscience. If neuroscientists depend heavily on robots, it's obvious that robots may end up taking over their jobs. And some ethical concerns. So, like me, I'm very keen on carbon footprints and climate change. And tech and science is contributing very fast to climate change. And robotics and AI are part of tech. So I think that their carbon footprint will still be contributing to climate change. So this is an environmental concern. And we have other ethical concerns relating to the field, such as the safety, how friendly it is, etc. Then when we come to the challenges, we have seen the threats such as replacing robots and replacing your scientists and ethical concerns. One of the challenges is that these curriculums that need to be updated so that upcoming neuroscientists can learn about AI and robotics. And also, neuroscientists in the field will have to go back to learn AI and robotics to stay up to date in the field. And another challenge is dependence on AI and robotics. Because they are too dependent, if they are in an area where someone's life is at danger, they will need to save the person immediately. But now they are dependent on AI and robotics and have lost necessary skills. Next slide, please. So does the prevalence of AI and robotics make neuroscientists to feel less relevant in the field where everything is automated? So I tried to answer this question looking at the positive side and the negative side, because my mentor said that when you're writing or conducting a research, you have to be free from bias. Normally, I would have said that it's definitely going to take over the field. But on one hand, AI and robotics are helping the neuroscientists very well, such as carrying out non-invasive surgeries, which helps the patients spanning recovery, and also automating repeated tasks. But on the pessimistic side, the potential of neuroscientists to lose their jobs to AI and robotics is a real concern. And as these technologies continue to advance, there's a risk that certain tasks traditionally performed by the neuroscientists could be automated, leading to job displacement. Next slide. So the impact of these findings, I've been able to answer the question posed by this research in some way, even though it's not perfect yet. I've been able to give a detailed explanation of the current trends regarding the technological advancements in the field, highlighting the pros and cons of AI and robotics in the field, foreseeing the future of neuroscience with technology, understanding the challenges faced by the neuroscientists. Next slide. So I find this topic very interesting, and in the future, I hope to continue studying AI and robotics and how it affects the field of neuroscience, both positively and negatively. And I also wish to partake in collaborations and publications. Next slide. Okay, I would like to acknowledge the whole Girls in Research team for giving me this opportunity to learn through wonderful workshops and carry out my research. And special thanks to my amazing mentor, Mentor Anna, for her wavering support and impacting me with great knowledge. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, thank you. And I also love to hear your thoughts if you think that AI and robotics would replace neuroscientists in the near future. Thank you.
Amazing job, Vanessa. Just so everyone in the audience is reminded, this is her presentation, but at only 13 years old from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, she produced a solid, fluent, university-level literature review that she wrote and then converted into this presentation for us today. I would gonna give the floor to your own mentor, Anna.
Congratulations, Vanessa. Yeah, I am so proud of you coming here today, and also just the culmination of everything that you've put in for the past 10 plus weeks. I'm just so impressed, first of all, with how quickly you've taken to this style of writing with a literature review. It took me way longer to get the hang of all of this in my freshman year of university. So I just want to put that out there. I think one of my favorite conversations that I had with you during our mentoring sessions is actually it was about the Industrial Revolution and all about the different technological revolutions, and just like the curiosity and the you had and the way you engaged with just this idea of like, how do people reorganize on a mass level their lives, their priorities, and their work around these revolutions in technology. So, yeah, I don't know. I just want to say that I'm really impressed and I'm proud of you. And also, you are just a born speaker. Yeah, that's.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely ending this symposium with a bang. So.
Thank you.
And Daniel?
Yeah, wow, what a presentation. I'm really impressed. I'm going to remember your passion for this topic for a long time. I find this topic really interesting myself as well, and I think you really managed to like go around and explain both the AI side and robotics. And I think particularly what I liked was you didn't just explain what might be possible technically, but also explain what the impact on people might be. Because I think at the end of the day, we're all trying to build a future that makes sure that the AI is here to help us as humans perform our tasks. And I think those reflections are just as important as the research itself. So really well done and congratulations.
Thank you.
And Savali.
Yes, great job. I love your energy, which you sustained throughout your presentation. And it seems like you did an excellent job with the literature review in this very rich area of research. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And Samuel?
Wow, I was so impressed. I wrote in my notes, powerhouse, natural speaker. I think in answer to your question, you shouldn't worry because I don't think AI can dream. So we've got a long way to go before AI starts making our dreams for us. But yeah, super interesting, and I hope that you will continue to carry on the passion that you have and be supported by the community of girls that are coming up and doing all this research. So well done.
Thank you, sir.
Barnessa, at 10 years old, published a book titled A Mama, which addressed critical issues like deforestation and biodiversity loss. She's been featured on BB News Pigeon, JMP Bliss Radio. She's even made her own animated film called Aesthetic Love that was showcased at the inaugural Plotagon Film Festival in 2023, as well as being named a Kidpreneur Ambassador. And at Girls in Research, at her time, was she not only our youngest ever scholar, but also she took the time to make videos, demonstrating videos of all the tools like Google Scholar, Citation Machine, for the other scholars in her cohort, as well as was one of the biggest cheerleaders of Match Day for the July cohort that came after her. You're an inspiration and have been a leader for girls both younger and older and all generations apart from that. At this point, I would like to give you your well-deserved Certificate of Achievement with the final research capstone titled Robotics Revolution, the Implications of AI and Robotics in Neuroscience. Congratulations, Vanessa.
Thank you.
And that is, in terms of the scholar presentations for today, as of today, you have listened to 13 scholars present, all high school girls aged between age 13 to age 17. They came from 10 different countries today on 4 continents, in South America, in Asia, in Africa, and Europe. We were joined in by mentors, staff, family, friends, and community, as well as fellow research scholars from over 25 countries around the world and over 36 time zones, with the earliest at when we started today being 5 a.m. in Hawaii and being 11 p.m. in Manila, Philippines. That is the scope of literally the entire globe of which we were able to do this today. At this point, I really would like to say that this is a very emotional day for the staff because of all the girls who graduated today. You were our first inaugural cohort. And when we as the team decided to really launch Girls in Research, I had one thing that was clear to me. It has to be we are the first global and virtual research and tech incubator in the world for high school girls, but we wanted to be the best community aiming at not just the best young female scientists and researchers, but the best scientists, period. And that has only been possible because of the girls who actually came and found us. We launched 3 months ago, and all of the girls you study today, they were actively searching for research level programs at the university level for high schoolers. And they found us based purely on their commitment, their passion, and their absolute love for research and education that is actually, I would say, is so rare in adults, but so aplenty. And you heard that today throughout the presentations and all 6 tracks that we had, going from astromining and the implications of physics on morality, to food nutrition dense powders, to how do we adequately address hearing loss for astronauts in microgravity conditions, to creating a DiaCare diabetes management application to address a huge problem in Uzbekistan, their local communities. Every one of these girls, I remember the first interview I ever had, I was so nervous because I was like, I don't know who's going to be out there. Where are we going to find them? The very first girl, she told me, I am so obsessed with black holes. I just finished Stephen Hawking's book for the 3rd time, and I even brought it to this interview. In that moment, I remember after we had that interview, I spoke to my colleagues, Anna and Daniel, and I was like, I think meeting the girls changes everything. They don't show the possibilities of where we can go as in terms of as a species in the pursuit of knowledge, but they show very importantly what is currently present and is now. We often say the future is female. I find that greatly incorrect because that disacknowledges that the future and that the female is present. We have so many women that have led the path before, but most importantly, we must build the infrastructure and the support in the community for the women innovators that will lead the next generation, who are the girls you see today. When at 2 core of our missions for Girls in Research, it was understanding that a research education is linear. It transpasses a field. It goes from social sciences to humanities to the sciences and everything in between. It is understanding and critically analyzing of problems and in the pursuit of knowledge. And that is an important key skill we want to instill in all of our scholars. But the second one was building community. It is one of the things I've realized that made Girls in Research possible is a community of mentors who are my own friends that I met during my own education journey that have supported me throughout. And I realized that for the girls today, every single one of them are so brilliant in their communities dotted all over the globe. Through Girls in Research, I've seen them form friendships. I've seen them be research partners. Alexandra spoke Spanish to her research partner Izoza, who replied in Russian, going from Peru to Uzbekistan. Wairimu had calls from Nairobi to Millie, who received those calls in Salta, Argentina. They stayed up late to understand the technical mechanisms between nuclear reactors, to understanding how important is community engagement when it comes to science communications. And these are just some of the ones I was able to present to you today. And for all of the presenters, you should be incredibly proud of yourselves for what you guys have achieved. And this is really, truly just the beginning. Next slide. Oh. Carl Sagan is my personal favorite. He once wrote, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known." We often think we have to look far into the cosmos to be able to experience the most intricacy moments of what we consider to be absolute awe. But often we overlook the very simple ones that are just right next to us. And that is the humans that surrounded us, the scholar and the communities we build. And most importantly, those are your own peers that are working with you on a day-to-day basis. And I think that is something that I really hope for all of you girls today, that's something you take into consideration, that it is not always about the big giant leaps for mankind, but small dissectable steps. And that is what we've seen you do, and we're so incredibly proud. Next slide. Next slide, please.
I think that's the last slide.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna actually share my screen very quickly. So I was gonna say today that we were joined in by mentors from all over the world. And I think what is most incredible is that they have not only given me feedback to the girls that were presented today that were their own scholars, but also to the other scholars that they had the chance of actually hearing for the first time. And right now, I would like to give recognition to actually the team behind Girls in Research who worked so hard for today. And that is Daniel, Anna, and Cynthia. Thank you so much for your contributions. This would not have existed without everything that you have done. And then for this next portion, we actually have a very special surprise. So I chose deliberately to not mention this throughout because I didn't want you girls to feel any more stressed than you already were or any more nervous than you already were, because this is the inaugural graduating cohort and also the inaugural research symposium demo day of Girls in Research. That being said, I am actually going to award at this moment 2 prizes. The first award is the Girls in Research Prize. And at this point, Cynthia, can you share the screen for the Verity Prize? Verity, in its most origin form, means truth. So Wairimu Karanu, this is to award you the Verity Prize for Excellence in Research. This prize honors a scholar whose work exemplifies the highest standards of integrity and depth of understanding, celebrating exceptional intellectual rigor in synthesizing and analyzing research. The award is a testament to the highest pursuit of creating new knowledge. And for those that heard her presentation earlier, her capstone project was the impacts of physics on morality, disproving materialism and biocentrism through quantum physics. You have shown me so acutely and how incredible you can delve into material, but most importantly, point out the most key distinct facets and what we must understand as humanity in order to move forward. Congratulations. And Wairimu, would you like to say something?
I would actually. Elizabeth, like the reason that I felt so motivated to pursue something that I've never really done, or that I thought I never had interest in, was because of you. Like I remember the first time I met you, during our interview, I talked to you about how unfortunately I couldn't do the natural sciences track, but you found a way to tie in what I love with the social sciences track. So I really do thank you for that.
It is so amazing of what you're able to achieve and understand at so young of an age. And I think you have not only been a great research scholar, but you've also been a great peer to the other scholars in your cohort. And I think whichever path you go on, I really encourage you to continue with this curiosity that you have. Congratulations, and we're really, really proud of you. I would like to say to everyone at this time, the senior staff of GIR, we actually require every single mentor and scholar to give a detailed reflection at the end of every single mentoring session. We have read and gone over every reflection, every mentor reflection, scholar reflection, the ones we read their rough drafts, their final drafts, their rough presentations, their final presentations of every single girl presented today. And after going over this, we thought your work was truly excellent. And at this time, I would like to present the second award. This is the Certificate of Achievement to the Innovation Prize for Outstanding Original Project, and that is awarded to Sachi Paradis. This prize celebrates the scholar who has crafted the most innovative and groundbreaking project. It recognizes a visionary approach and the ability to turn imaginative ideas into tangible results. This award is a testament to creativity, originality, and the power of innovative thinking to bring new concepts to life. Sachi's project was writing a research proposal that is called Transforming Agricultural Waste, Developing a Nutrition-Dense Food Powder for Sustainable Food Solutions. She addressed a succinct, important problem that affects her community on a daily basis and was able to use her own creativity, imagination, and convert that into intellectual rigor. Her mentor is also here today, Jeremy, who's a PhD candidate at Harvard. Jeremy, would you like to say anything?
Absolutely. It was a pleasure mentoring Sachi, and it was, well, easier than I expected because she made it easier. And I'm really proud of what she's done, and I'm really excited. The thing that excites me most about this entire mentorship opportunity with her is that she's actually going to do this project very soon in high school with a few other fellow students. And so I'm really excited to see how that goes and, you know, see the tangible results.
And Sachi, if you are, I know it's really early over there in the Philippines, would you like to have a word? And okay, so the very last thing before we leave today, I want to tell to all of the girls, even though you presented today, it does not mean this thing is over. Is over. You are a lifetime member of the Girls in Research community. You're in Slack. You're going to be continuing to participate in all the Girls in Research workshops, programming, all of our metaverse meetups. And most importantly, many of you have already volunteered to actually be teaching assistants for the next wave of scholars, which is actually incredible that so many of you have been so excited to actually share your own journeys, what you have learned. This, for us as term of team, has been the most incredible experience. And the last excerpt I want to actually share with all of you today is one that was written by Carl Sagan in the 90s after the Voyager exploration project. And he wrote this: "The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species can migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It's been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another, and to preserve and to cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known." Today, as you've seen, our scholars are going in a multitude of fields from what they've understood, from those seen from the smallest atom to the greatest interplay from the galaxy. We would like to remind you that wherever you go, you have this responsibility to yourselves to always remember that what you do going forth is something that we want to encourage you, and especially as young scientists, especially as young women, that you do have a voice. You share it, you say it loud and clear, because everything that you do not creates impact for just yourselves, but also the communities around you, which you are a vibrant and essential part of. And in the very, very classic Girls in Research style, so led by the staff, we're going to ask everyone now to turn on your cameras because we're going to be taking a group selfie. We take a selfie at the end of every single one of our Girls in Research workshops. So we're going to ask you to do the same thing that I'm going to do. And in case you want to look at my camera or Anna's or Cynthia's, we're all going to turn on your cameras. We're going to, instead of clapping, because there's going to be some noise, we're going to do jazz hand waves to celebrate basically what you have done today. This isn't just culturally, this signifies celebration in many cultures around the world, but also physiologically, we want you to understand this is a celebration and also a release of your accomplishments. And I know how much stress and how much hard work you put into this. So yeah, Anna, you want to count us off on the selfie?
Yeah, actually, do you want to turn off the screen share so that everyone's tiles can expand?
Yeah, Cynthia. Also, Cynthia was the backhand master doing all of the slides today. She powered all the slides, she synced them up, she was doing the next for every one of these girls. So this was definitely a very interesting effort. All right, Anna, we're ready for the count off. Congratulations. Really, really, really well done. And like for the scholars, if you guys want, Metaverse, the room is open right now. It's always open 24 hours. You guys want to hop in there and play some games and chat, that's the after party if you guys want to go into it for Girls in Research Metaverse. To everybody else, to the panelists, a sincere thank you. And one final word is from Laura Snowden, who's the senior advisor, and she's been the dean of students at Harvard Graduate School of Design for 30 years. She was here today and she heard the majority of presentations, and she just said this: tell these girls, please, they are the future. They will make change. I am so proud of them because they will be amazing, amazing women, and I can't wait to see it. Congratulations, and to everyone around the world, have a great night.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, staff might want to stay for like